Well, howdy, gents. How are you
Hello.
this fine day?
Yo, yo, yo.
You. So, Blades in the Dark. We did not. I think we talked about this a little bit in the first AP that we did of this, where we did a sort of takedown, a score, if you will, and about how we didn't really do a session zero. There's a bit of chaos on planning and organizing this and that sort of thing. So and we really need to do like a session zero. We really need to my big thing is we really need to the characters are great. I just want them to be a little linked up, like how you guys know each other and stuff. But there's also the typical session zero type stuff that we didn't do as well, where it's like, what do you guys want out of the game? What are some areas that we really shouldn't talk about? What are some themes you guys like to see? It's like, what questions do you have for me? And do you want a silly game or do you want a deadly serious game? And do you want to, ban silly voices or just everyone use silly voices except Brodor because he hates them and that sort of thing.
I have come a long way from the silly voices. I only lost one night's sleep from the last game, so I think I'm building a tolerance.
Good.
Building a tolerance. I
That's
didn't get to say
because our
this.
voices weren't silly; they were awesome.
I didn't get to say this because I wasn't here last time, but I was incredibly surprised at how simple character creation is for this game.
Yep.
Ridiculously simple.
It's just about making a couple of choices that make sense. It's not like doing your taxes,
No, you make a total of like 5 choices.
Yeah.
You're done.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I've got the group template and the pre-game questionnaire loaded.
So guess what? We're not doing any of that shit.
Because it works.
Because here's the thing. I hate fucking paperwork. I mean, that's all there is to it. I think that I like the idea of a session zero, and I like the idea of a group template and all that sort of thing. But to me, I have a different take on it. It's a conversation. It's just a conversation that we have. I don't really want to go down the paperwork. We ask this question, we ask this question, we ask that question. It's just we're friends. We're friends, and we talk about what we want, what we don't want, what we're looking for, what we can make work, and that sort of thing. And we talk about our characters. So that's how I'm gonna run the game. That's how I'm gonna run this one. So, so we're gonna start it off here too. What kind of game are you guys looking for? And I don't just mean Blades in the Dark type stuff. It's like, do you want something? Do you want a lot of comedy? Do you want a lot of action? Do you want it to be grimdark? It's like there's all sorts of levels all over the place on that. The setting is, of course, dark. It's not. Blades in the Dark is not 40K grimdark where there is no hope and everybody's going to die, and it's just a matter of fighting as hard as you can to have the least horrific death or maybe the most horrific death. It isn't like that. It's Blades in the Dark is, and Dan put it really well on our last Fear the Boot episode. We talked about it where he says it's like a combination of Dickens and Lovecraft. You're in London, it's gaslight. You have this sort of Dickensian sort of feel to it. You have this criminal element. It's very much about the street. It's very working class sort of thing, factories and all that feel and stuff. But there's also like this sort of dark magic. You don't have guys like shooting lightning bolts like in D&D and gods coming down. It isn't that showy, but it also isn't. It exists and it's real and people know it and they believe it. and it can be showy too in different circumstances. But it is a game where you play criminals. You're bad guys doing bad things, but that doesn't mean that you're despicable, right? Unless you want to be. It is about loyalty and trust, and it's about working together against all odds, and it's about swashbuckling and daring and stuff. So within that idea, out of this kind of game, what are you guys like looking for? You know,
espionage.
All right, yeah.
Now, and I don't want to like hammer you into a box, right? But I don't mean necessarily corporate espionage, although I'm not excluding corporate espionage, right? But just working alongside with with Uncle Treacle's connections. That was not Freudian, I swear to Christ.
Sure.
No, I swear to Christ, it was not Freudian. I'm just really stoned. But if getting blackmail and intelligence and reconnaissance on other gangs and on the police, the blue coats versus the investigators, basically kind of embroiling in that world, I would really dig that for sure.
So like a very Cloak and Dagger type game.
Yeah. But combine that with, I have a huge fucking boner for the whole rooftop thing, right? The Gotham by Gaslight, big collars and cowls and hats that hide faces and all that sort of black plume smoke steam funky. Totally on board for that vibe.
You want Mary Poppins with robberies?
Yeah, but
Mary Poppins caps. That's what he wants.
Mary Poppins in Gotham sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what I really love about Blades in the Dark too is focusing on the aspect of the shadows flying from rooftop to rooftop to rooftop in sort of running stealth battles and sort of stuff. I dig that. That's really cool.
So one thing I want to see, I want to be able to be doing like hits on things like, robberies, like Broder saying, get information, more focus on that. Since the last game I was in was Assassins,
right?
It felt like there were some things missing from the game by being Assassins. I like doing territory and growing and having your safe base that you're building up. And that really wasn't a focus of Assassins, but it is of, it's one of the things I like about the game is getting turf and expanding.
Yeah, when we did our Assassins game, that was one of the things that we noticed is that you are paid to kill people. I mean, that's what everyone signed up for. That's everyone doing it, and it was cool, and that was really awesome. And you know what Assassins don't need? They don't need turf. They don't need rep necessarily. They need jobs and money. And that was neat, but that was an interesting thing that it kind of cut out a whole sort of mechanic and aspect to the world. Building up the gang, because we had the gang sheet and stuff, and everyone was like, well, we don't care about half this stuff. I mean, I can kill somebody and I can kill them for money. Cool. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, Rain, that, no, I'm down with that. Yeah.
I want Guy Ritchie's Blades in the Dark.
Nice.
I definitely want everything they just said, but I want it to be serious, but also very goofy. I want those moments that are laugh out loud because I think we do really well with shit like that. If we keep it too serious, I don't know if it's going to be as fun. You have to have something lighthearted, or you have to have something that we can laugh at to kind of help create the story.
I agree. I totally agree. And it is almost to the point where I don't even think I have to plug that in, because a lot of the humor is going to be like, you guys having this grand plan, doing it, and it all going pear-shaped. You know, it's just like hilariously bad, like in a Guy Ritchie movie, where it's just like it like collapses, but it collapses in a way that works out for you, but not how you expected it to.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I hear you. Guy Ritchie is a director. He made Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch and what
the
else?
Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes
Sherlock
movies.
Holmes, yeah.
He did that? I didn't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did those.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did Madonna for a while.
Nah, that was a mistake. But I mean, who hasn't?
Do you think that she was a wildcat, or do you think that she just rested on her laurels and the fact that she was Madonna?
No, I think she's a fucking wildcat. 100%. I don't think there's any question. I don't think that's like a play. I think she 100% was fucking like in the heyday. I'm sure, you know, sleeping with Madonna was like something you could brag about. Nowadays, it's like, oh, okay. Is she like 85 or something?
Hardcore.
But she'd still be down. That's the thing. And she can still pull youngins like in their 20s. So
Yeah. She's no longer a cougar. I think she's a dragon now.
Yeah, she's
Wow.
venerable.
Yeah.
she's a saber tooth.
They call those the guys that go after those dragon hunters. She's no Betty White. No. Betty White is a great worm.
great word.
Dude, no, I'm out.
Oh my God.
So what else do you guys want? What else do you guys want to see in a game like this?
I was thinking, I like the idea of carving out territory. The thing about Blades in the Dark is I equate it to the Gentleman Bastards series a lot, because that's kind of the feel that I get from this game.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So, carving out territory, doing scams, robbing from other gangs, robbing from rich people to like build our nest egg and just kind of build our reputation and whatnot. So I want to do some of that stuff. I want to, pull off a big heist now, and do something that makes us appear more than what we are. So have the other gangs going, who are these guys? Where do they even come from?
That absolutely works. That is, and that's very Blades too. Because one of the things in Blades, I mean, it's a city, right? It's this walled city that's huge, and there isn't anything else on the. I mean, there is stuff on the outside, but there's nothing that concerns you guys on the outside of the walls of the city, and it's not like there's a great frontier to go explore or anything. Everything in the city is owned by someone. And to get what's yours, you have to take it. And there's just a lot of different paths on getting what's yours. But there's nothing that's free out there. So yeah, and that's not only is that a thematic thing, that's also a mechanical thing as well of expanding your territory and stuff. It doesn't mean it's like, oh well, I get so many points and now I'm eligible, or we are eligible to get this piece of territory on the gang sheet. It's like, yes, you're eligible for it, but now we have to play the game of you guys are going to have to get it. You're going to have to take it somehow from someone else.
And keep it.
And keep it. Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have like underlings and things? Is that how this works?
So, not to start out with. So each of the crews, they're called. So I should clarify by was it the giver, the exactness in speech or whatever they have. Gangs are big, large criminal organizations. You guys are not a gang. You guys are a crew. And a crew, I mean, that's like a Guy Ritchie thing, right? It's like you guys are a crew, and the crew might be part of a gang, or might be affiliated with a gang, or it might have an understanding with a gang that they have staked out because they're like next door, and so the gang just doesn't roll over and kill them or something. It could be friendly, it could be adversarial, whatever. and we're going to figure all that out. But as a crew, the crew is a character. The crew has its own character sheet. The crew gets experience. The crew has equipment. The crew has advantages. But it's a well that you guys draw from and resources that you guys use. One of the things that is part of that is what are called cohorts. Now, a cohort, so imagine you guys are a crew and you work for somebody. You're their cohort. Now, you guys get so built up, it's like now you guys need somebody to go run coffee and do shakedowns and stand guard or do whatever. So part of the advancement of the gang is that you can put points into the crew and buy cohorts. And it's not just a checkbox. Oh, I've got a cohort now. Okay, cool. There's different qualities of them. They do different things. And in the rules, the gang owns them or the crew owns them, and they're just a resource for the crew. That's not how I run it, because we did this in the first game I ran, and it worked really well, is that you guys all have to agree, of course, but if someone wants a cohort within the crew, and everyone agrees to it, it is their character's cohort. Like these are my guys. This is Reggie's boys over here, and they are some knuckle dragging, mouth breathing. I don't even know if they're human. Maybe they just escaped from the zoo. Just mean sons of bitches, but they're Reggie's sons of bitches. Now they're loyal to the crew, but they're Reggie's boys, sort of thing. And what I would do, or what you would do, is when that is all established, I would want you, Brandon, who is playing Reggie, to define your crew. I would want you to name the guys in the crew. I want you to give me a little description of them, give me some flavor on them, and that sort of thing. And you kind of control them with the gentlemanly understanding, meta-wise, that this is a resource for the gang. And it's you can say no, and as long as it's good role playing and such. But this is a resource that these guys meta allowed you to have.
Right.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So no, absolutely. You guys will definitely get underlings. Dr. Proust has already expressed huge interest into having underlings and probably has them half written out already. So, I love it when you guys get cohorts. You can do tons of great stuff with them. A lot of fun, a lot of role-playing stuff too.
Cool. Did anybody change anything about their character that they were originally doing?
Nope.
Well, I tell you what, before we get into that, why don't we just go around and sort of, for the audience and for you, Brandon, as well, because you missed last game. Why doesn't everyone introduce their character and kind of say, who their character is and give a little bit of background? We can start with Eric because you're upper left on my screen.
Okay. I'm playing Uncle Treacle, and Uncle Treacle is a spider. He, his description is he's, if Bricktop and Tom Waits had a love child. So for those who haven't seen Snatch, Bricktop is a gang boss in the movie Snatch, and Tom Waits is a singer. So he is a Koros, which is from the city. Mm-hmm. And his background is he comes from a trade background. His big thing is that he loves fine food. Unfortunately, the city isn't the greatest place to find fine food, so he kind of has the hookup on where to find all the best food places around. So it's like whatever neighborhood or whatever zone we're in, he pretty much knows, well, that place has good scones and that place is garbage. He is a spider.
That's your vice, right?
That is my vice, yes. Yeah. Pleasure is food and drink.
Now, some people might be hearing that and thinking, oh, well, he just took a stupid vice. That's a nothing vice. There's no real consequence for that. In this setting, there's absolute consequence for that because the setting is very class conscious. You guys are poor as church mice right now. And basically, Uncle Treacle is punching above his weight to partake of that, and he has sources on it, and he spins exuberantly on it, and he can get caught and basically cut off from it.
Right.
And then, that's bad for him.
Right. He has to run because he's a spider. So he, which means that he's kind of one of these people, pulling at the strings and working scams and things like that. And one of his side scams is getting into into some of these places, either, disguising himself as somebody who's rich so he can get in, or through coercion, things like that. And you were talking about having cohorts. One of my dreams or one of my goals is to have a web of cohorts who are like wait staff in all of these different restaurants and whatnot. So
Space monkeys.
You know what? That's actually really cool because that's a great way to get information and all kinds of stuff.
Right. And nobody ever, is concerned whether or not the waiter can hear what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, beyond that, he's a pretty big guy, and his real name is Fezziwig Tripe, but everybody calls him Uncle Treacle.
Dan, why don't you go?
So Dr. Proust, he was originally a ship surgeon on one of the whaling ships, and was trained in the city that stands in for London, Agros, or whatever it's called.
Duskwall.
Yeah, or Duskwall, yeah. Went out from Duskwall, and while he was out there, something happened that in the Lovecraftian fashion drove him mad. So some encounter with something that he was never supposed to have looked at or eaten or spoken to in a dream or whatever it is he did. And when he got back, they threw him into an insane asylum, and a spirit or ghost came to him sort of seeking to possess him, but made the estimation that he was, because when the ghost shows up, he's already at this point, I guess, a whisper, which is people that see or can interact with spirits. And so he has an awareness of it that he really shouldn't. And so the ghost kind of makes a decision to possess somebody else instead, and then use him as a way of trying to expand a religion that ultimately ends with I haven't totally developed it, but it's this sort of weird interrelationship between the living and the ghosts, and which is going to end up with a lot of people possessed. But I want it to be more complex than that. They're not just trying to create vessels, but I haven't fully worked it out. But he, in the meantime, the asylum he's at, because now the guy that runs the asylum is possessed by the ghost that almost possessed him. He's very close friends with the head doctor of the asylum, and there's a lot of bad things going on in that asylum that shouldn't be. And I don't mean mistreatment of the mentally ill, though that is
because that's sort of business as usual there.
Yeah, no, it is a birthing ground for this cult that is plausibly deniable because it's an insane asylum. So when people say they saw this or that or experienced this or that, who believes them anyway? But they've continued to allow Dr. Proust to educate himself by reading medical textbooks, by even participating in some of the treatments. And then the way that they get him out into the world is, given his skills both as a doctor and as a whisperer, basically anyone who's kind of in the know knows services are available. He's totally neutral. He doesn't particularly have any allegiances, but someone comes to the asylum and knows the right things to say to get that special menu, and he's one of the things that you can get. So basically, you can hire him or hire his time straight from the asylum. And obviously, I want to bind him to the group more than that, but we'll get to that when we get to the group template. So, but yeah, beyond that, he's, in addition to the Whisperer, he is still a doctor. And part of the way I'm playing him is that he has a weird sense of religiosity and morality, and is also pegged very hard to his own sense of morality, and nothing really disturbs him. He's already kind of seen it all, and he's nuts anyway. So whether it's a mutilated corpse or a horrifying demon, it just doesn't bother him. And I've taken all the stats and whatever that actually allow that to be true.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What's your vice? It's the vice weird cult shit?
The vice is his faith. That he believes that there is some kind of a grand power that is sort of overseeing and orchestrating all this according to a design. And both his faith in that designer and his desire to convert others to it. That's his vice.
Cool. Awesome. Wayne, you're next on the list here.
Okay. Jack basically grew up on the streets running with a batch of the Crows for a while. He didn't have much support, but he won the genetic lottery, and he's 6'4", just a big muscular dude. He's got claw marks across his face from a run-in with something that he has no idea what it was. Between that and his original mentor was possessed by a ghost, and he killed him while possessed to free him. He's developed something of a, I don't want to call, it's not like a phobia, but he is not at all comfortable and is, at least to a degree, freaked out with the supernatural, which is everywhere in the world. But basically, though, he knows that he's big and he's tough, and that's how he can make his money. And he knows that if he wasn't big and tough, that he wouldn't still be alive at this point, because he doesn't really have a lot else going for him as far as he's concerned. And he's particularly down on himself because of the scars and all of the other scars over his body. He just basically can't accept that anyone would accept him.
Gotcha. And Hole is your vice, right?
Yep, pleasure with the particularly the golden cat, because it's an interaction he understands. Like a regular person showing interest in him, he doesn't understand what they really want from him. But when he goes to a place like that, he knows that what they want is coin, and that makes sense.
Cool. All right, Mike, who's your character? What is he all about?
So Alexander Hayden is also Akarosi. Is that Akarosian?
Arcosian.
Arcosian. So yeah, Alexander, or as he prefers to be called, Mr. Hayden, even though he is a young man of, probably his late teens, is an academic fellow. He's sharp, but wishes to be erudite. He's clean and well kept for someone of his class and station, but it is obvious that he craves to be of a much higher place, and that the creativity and intellect with which he has been blessed deserves to not be in such squalor. But he's very, very polite, because politeness is perceived as kindness, and kindness is perceived as weakness. And weak people are generally ignored, and that is how he has gotten through a lot of his life. Generally tries to keep people at a distance, has a keen mind for the working of things, and understands even how the mechanisms of the human body make sense to him, how those machines work. But people and emotions, it's not that he doesn't have them, it's just that he struggles with them because there's no textbook, there's no map, there's no rules on how people work, and each one is different, and it's frustrating, right? But he doesn't talk about his past, but there's nothing about him that would indicate that it is tragic. More one that he is just a person who feels very alone in a group of people, but he can develop relationships with people and some strong and loyal bonds. And one of my ideas was that perhaps because I am sharp and insightful, I could be one of Uncle Treacle's guys, because Uncle Treacle has a guy for everything. Sometimes if he needs a smart kid to do something, perhaps that it is foolish or dangerous that a more mature leech would not do, I am willing to do because I'm ambitious.
Yeah. Cool. What's your vice?
So my vice is actually pleasure. Also, it's a rare Eastern narcotic called Jadon.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So tell us about Reggie.
So Reginald Ramar, he's grew up an orphan on the streets, very tough. I was gonna play him younger, but I think I'm gonna play him a little older now. My original idea was that he was a bit of a bastard. Like he was gonna be like this brute, which he still basically is. But instead of just hating everyone, one thing, because we talked about kind of wanting the group to be a little bit more cohesive, my character would have been at ends with almost everybody because he doesn't trust anyone and he would try to use people for his outcomes. So he's definitely someone who sees comrades as, he definitely sees them as family, but his idea of family is weird because he never had one. So it's like recruited family. He also has a soft spot for like children or like other orphans. My idea was eventually maybe he has like street urchins that work for him, or he takes them under his wing maybe. He's definitely someone who's ready to throw a fist to get what he wants before he speaks a word. He's been in fights his whole life. He's an expert at bare knuckle boxing. His vice is actually stupor, and one of the options was fight, like getting into fights. So I put him in like underground fights or causing fights so that he kind of, it's almost like he feels like he deserves the pain almost. But I might change that to obligation, because if I want to do the street urchins thing, that kind of gives it more of a reason. But I'm not going to take away the fights. He still goes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how he blows off steam. If something tragic happens, he just wants to, he wants to make something bleed.
Cool.
So he's heavy-handed and he's still a bit of an asshole, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and you do kind of need to be a bit of an asshole. I mean, it's a definitely a rough world, but I do like the idea of going away from like the loner who hates everyone and kind of uses them.
Which playbook did you go with?
Cutter.
Okay.
Yep. We've got 2 cutters, a spider, a leech, and a whisper.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the thing is I had seen you guys when you were making the characters. All the characters were really good, but we were kind of making them in a bubble, and everybody was like, I'm out for me, and I take care of me, and fuck everybody else, sort of thing, which works in different settings. And the problem is in Duskwall, it's so dangerous, and everybody is part of something larger for that sort of protection, and Duskwall eats the loner, right? You know, it's, and if you are tagged as like the disloyal betrayer, it's like, yeah, you know, my gang hates these other guys, but you betrayed the guys I hate. That doesn't mean I like you. That means you're a betrayer and no one likes you now.
Yeah, when I was thinking about it, it was like, how am I going to make it? I mean, I could see it still working out because it's more of even if I was playing a loner, I'm a reliable person that helps get things done. But that is very short-sighted as far as like where that could go.
Yeah.
If I actually give a shit about anybody in the group, I'm more inclined to do something for them.
Yeah.
Without being asked to or things like that, and it creates more role play opportunity. And I'd rather do that than just be like, fuck them.
He got hit. I'm not paying to defend him. I'm paying to beat guys up.
What a bitch. I get his share.
That's right. All right. So cool. That's that's the round table of the character. Like I said, all the characters are great. I really like them. I have some questions for you about the game in general, but I'm gonna hold off on those right now. I've been kind of like typing on the side some questions and some ideas and stuff. But now that we've kind of gone around in a circle here, how do you think you guys know each other in a broad sense? Now, I know that some people are like, well, I am connected to Uncle Treacle because he's the spider guy. That's great. That is, in fact, I see a lot of dotted lines maybe going to Uncle Treacle. But in a broad general sense, how do you guys know each other?
You know, so one other one I want to throw out is for Reggie, since your vice is the fighting in those underground fighting rings. One of the things that my character does for side money is he does like bouncer work.
Oh, that's actually good, because the thought that I had was that my guy did like he was a bodyguard or something every now and then for money.
Yeah, I think he probably has done some bouncer work at these fights, and he bets on them and bets on you.
Yeah, I like that.
So like we've known each other through the underground before even Uncle Treacle brought everyone together.
Yeah. Well, I would think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I really like the connection to Wayne's character. If I can, it's hard to think of a way to be connected to Dan's, but I think maybe because I'm in fights all the goddamn time, he's repaired some of my worse off, injuries of me maybe getting a broken nose or.
Well, and think of it this way too. You have an underground fight ring. You need a location. You can only do warehouses so many times. So who's corrupt?
Warehouses are so cliche.
Who's corrupt and has a private building where you can have fights in? The insane asylum rec room. You know, it's why not? And then there's a doctor on hand.
Yeah, I like to think the doctor probably patched me up a number of times. He's probably more intimate with my body than myself.
Hot.
Yeah. Don't ask what happens to the people that die in the arena.
Oh, shit. As far as Uncle Treacle, since he's kind of a skis on getting like food and stuff, maybe I've known him for like while growing up because he helped feed me or something.
Well, I one of my background things is as a my background is in trade. My thought was that my parents and then me run a sweet shop, which would attract urchins and things like that. So maybe you were kind of hanging around that area as I was I see. I don't know about how old Dr. Proust is, but I'm kind of envisioning that Uncle Treacle's probably the oldest of the group because I'm thinking he's probably in his 40s, maybe even a little bit older. So yeah, the idea of maybe Uncle Treacle's kept his eye on each one of you for a while, either through intermediaries or through like with Reggie and Jack, when you were kids,
Yeah, I even like the idea of Reggie and Jack being friends from being kids. I like that idea.
Yeah, because we both grew up on the streets.
Yeah, we're
the old
both toughened bastards that do bodyguard work and bouncing and all this other shit. Like, it sounds like we were pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that I have paid you both at different times to protect me from people.
That's perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. From when you were a little kid. You're like this scrawny little kid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and he's not. I mean, he's not a small guy. He's not a big guy either.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I'm not a monstrous dude. I don't want to go in a toe-to-toe fight at all.
Well, you were the brainy kid with the book. And so that like instantly put a target on you.
And you were nice to us, which is something that we never got really growing up. So, I mean, to be fair, you would have been the nicest person that we know. Right?
And what do you guys think about like Uncle Treacle? I mean, he's got his hand in everything. He sees all these connections and stuff. And it's not like some grand scheme or plan, just a little idea he has where he kind of, Alexander, he sees Alexander's the little kid, his nose is against the sweet shop. And he sees Alexander getting beat up and he knows you two guys and you guys are kind of friends. And he pulls Alexander aside, says, here's some taffy. Give them to your friends. Tell them that anybody touches you, beat the crap out of them, and you'll give them some more taffy, sort of thing.
Taffy for blood.
That's right.
Yeah, I like this.
Mm-hmm. So
I like that too, and I like the idea of it eventually becoming more than that. The relationship is becoming complicated because it's more than just a business arrangement at this point, right?
Yeah.
I want to be careful with that, though. I don't want to make Uncle Treacle the locus of the group because that never ends well. If he is part of what organized us into working together, that's fine. But the idea that basically he is the center point of why we're together, what we're doing, where those assets are going, how everybody knows each other, that's, in my experience, RPGs, that always backfires.
So I'm very much, Alexander is very much on the Reggie and Team Jack, whether there is no Uncle Treacle, whether there is or is not an Uncle Treacle, right?
Yeah, I think that's the difference in the way these are being described is they were introductions, but then entirely separate relationships were formed from that.
And I also like what you were saying too, Mike, about how, it's like when you were kids, you guys were friends and, there was this sort of, I don't want to say arrangement, but basically, they protected you and you were nice to them. And it was not it's not transactional. And now that you guys have grown up, just the situation and whatnot and who you guys are, where you guys are and kind of the trajectory you're on, it is becoming complicated. It's like it's a business now. There's money on the table. This is going to make things uncomfortable if things go wrong.
Right.
So people who aren't friends in this situation shoot each other and kill each other over this. Right. What happens with us if something like that happens?
Well, and some motherfucker always gets greedy.
Well, somebody did say they want some Guy Ritchie in this. So.
Some motherfucker always gets greedy, and that's a problem.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Sprinkle in a little Peaky Blinders for us, and then I think we have a game.
Peaky Blinders is actually listed as one of the touchstones that you should watch when you.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
I own the book. I've only read like the first 50 some pages because of character creation, but
I think we need some more ties for Dr. Prost.
Well, and so that was going to be my next thing is, Dr. Prost is heavily entrenched in the asylum.
Yeah.
And so we've got, Reggie, Alex, and Jack connected. And then we have a dotted line back and forth between them and Uncle Treacle. And I think we can make a dotted line between Uncle Treacle and Dr. Prost, because in the first game, he's the one who dug him out. But that's too, again, it's too transactional. I want there to be, instead of, well, Dr. Prost is a useful asset, I want him to be, no, I want this guy. Not because he's the best or the worst or whatever. This is my guy, and I want him out for my job. It's like, but what's that story? How is that connection?
I've got two suggestions on that. One is going to require either contradicting something Eric said or running in tandem with it, which is the main asset that Proust offers is access, because this is not a new conspiracy. And so I was also intending to kind of burn hard down the cohort list to represent the either loyalists or at least the sympathizers that exist throughout the city to what's going on. The other thing that I was going to suggest is this would tie Brodor and I together, is he and I chose the same basic type of thing for an enemy. That his and I's rival is both this demonic woman.
Jewel?
Well, I gave her a different name, but I mean, yeah, either way. No,
I love your name. I'm in.
And in his case, it's not just that she's a demon. It's the fact that the demons represent, along the ghost-human axis, they represent a third-party heresy. And so he views this demon woman not just as a problem personally, but there's a interreligious issue there. But that common enemy could create something. Now,
so I have an idea to tie in with that as well. Then I was like, my character's face was sliced across by something he doesn't know or understand. It could be that demon, and you rescued him from her. And I still don't understand what it is, because I don't get all that stuff.
Yeah,
but I know this was something bad, and you saved me from the thing that I couldn't just punch.
Yeah, and I like it because that's one of the things that's a major attribute or trait of his character is when dealing with the supernatural, he's not just messing with ghosts. He's messing with other forms of spirits as well that he sees as demonic outsiders. Now, has he known anyone since then to give him a more personal tie?
Well, let me ask you this about the setup with the asylum. Now, obviously, it's not mechanical. It's whatever we, us want. Is it a matter of, like, you're an inmate, there's corruption, these guys have to go check you out and pay the fee and get you out? Or is it more of a revolving door? Now, obviously, you're totally locked in there, but you have access and privilege and bribes and whatnot where you personally can come and go. And the reason why I ask that is because if they have to go and check you out, that's cool. Again, that totally works. If it's more of a revolving door where basically it's like when you want to leave, you can leave. But when things get a little too weird in your mind, you feel you need to go back in there or go to your people, the cult, whatever. If it's more of a revolving door, I think that gives you more access to all these different characters. And why I was thinking that is just like, Jack was attacked by something, you saved him. The question is, well, if you're locked in the asylum all the time, what were you doing out walking the streets, saving people from supernatural?
Yeah, no, I think he is. It definitely is a sort of revolving door. Where, yeah, there may be times where the head doctor of the asylum, who's actually a possessed body, who actual doctor has been dead for a long time, feels things. There's too much heat, or feels he needs him at home. He can refuse to let him out. But I mean, even within the asylum, I mean, I'm assuming he's got a key ring for all of the asylum, because I mean, he's constantly, reading the textbooks, participating in the surgeries, even trying to counsel the other inmates, which of course is, a Lovecraftian nightmare in and of itself. He's not supposed to be doing this, but yeah, I think he lets himself out all the time, and they need him to, because I mean, you've run Blaze in the Dark. If somebody possessed by a ghost goes out there, don't those whatever people come out and
the
go nuts?
Yes, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, those people come out and go nuts. He's not.
Spirit
I
wardens.
mean, yeah, the spirit wardens or whatever. He's not a spirit. He's just nuts.
Right.
And but otherwise, he is a completely normal human. He's not possessed by anything. He's not, drawing his power from some dark pact. So that he could slide beneath the notice of the spirit wardens, whereas a lot of the cult's true inner workings couldn't, because they're all possessed.
So what I'm thinking too is, I get a vibe with the Reggie, Alex, and Jack thing too, is that there's an old neighborhood here. It's just like this is the sort of old, these guys know each other, that sort of thing. I mean, you could, even though you're all like different ages and stuff, except for those three, you could also be somehow connected to that old neighborhood. Either you're from it. Well,
how old is Dr. Proust?
I'm picturing him somewhere up in his 30s, maybe 35, 37.
Could he have been? I mean, you said he was a ship surgeon, right? What if he was like a local doctor before that happened?
I would say, or if nothing else, he had to have at least been from the neighborhood. Insofar as, I mean, given the point in history, I guess it's 50-50 whether he went to a medical college or whether he was trained in apprenticeship. But
yeah, do you come from a prominent family?
There has to be some history there.
And he served on a ship too, but that doesn't mean he wasn't born on the ship and lived on the ship, and then they kicked him off from the dock and he bounced into the insane asylum. Maybe he's from somewhere. He has people, he has friends before that, even before he went nuts.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe what he went with is the insanity twisted sane concepts. So, I mean, perhaps beforehand he really was attending some kind of a medical college, and was maybe even performing medical charity for whatever the equivalent is of the Anglican Church within Duskwall.
I think it's like they have religions in here. They have state religions, like Lady of the Five Eyes or something crazy like that.
Yeah, whatever is closest to something benevolent, Judeo-Christian, whatever.
Well, there's not going to be anything Judeo-Christian. I'll tell you that. It's going to be like Cthulhu-esque. It's just going to be like more acceptable, less tentacles.
Well, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for, is whatever's the more acceptable, charitable one.
Right.
And so, I think there's two ways that he could know other people. One is the fact that, I believe he is walking the streets of his own volition, that what the people in the asylum have the ability to do is to direct him and order him. Whereas otherwise, he's just kind of doing his own thing, and they trust him to do it, but they're not even exactly sure what he's up to. As opposed to which I mean, in a way, is building his own leash because the more he builds out that cult, the more they're going to be reporting back on his activities. But the other possibility is that, so you guys may have known him post insanity, but you also may have known him pre-insanity.
Well,
there might be a 15-year gap in those knowings, where a lot of time passes.
What were you going to say, Eric?
I was going to say, I mean, sounds like Uncle Treacle and Dr. Prouse are relatively close in age. Maybe we were childhood friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible we were childhood friends, or do you come from connected family? Because if I was in medical school, I mean, that's...
That, yeah.
Well, and maybe like I see it too, is you two are childhood friends and you're the previous generation. These three are like the young bloods, and that you guys are kind of like bringing them up, so to speak.
Yeah, I like it. That Eric is still sane. I'm crazy, but we know each other.
Yeah.
And we do sort of represent an old guard.
And I and it's up to you guys too. Just throwing out the possibility as well is that both of you, it makes sense for both of you to be like upper class that have fallen. Eric, with Uncle Treacle, with his desire of finer things and all that sort of stuff, and he, for whatever reasons, is lost access to that. Now maybe he's like trying to get back there. He at least wants a taste of that life again.
My family was ruined and ended up living in squalor.
And then I could see Dr. Prouse too, is that because there is a central academy that is like, these guys don't get into that academy. You have to be someone and be of an upper. It's a very class conscious society. They don't have like scholarship for poor people. They don't want poor people in there. Poor people are gross.
I think my character probably did come from wealth.
But then fell for some reason.
That's why I said
he
prominent
fell personally, even if his family didn't.
Well, his family did, yeah. Well, and look at it this way too, where your family came from a prominent family. Something happened with the family. Might even have been something that happened to both Uncle Treacle's and Dr. Prouse's families, some scandal or something, and both families fell then fell apart. And then you had to take a job on a ship. You're sane. You're fine. It's just like, I have fallen, but I must eat and I can ply my trade. And then you see some shit and it breaks you.
Well, being a ship surgeon isn't building beneath people's wealth. That's a rite of passage. Actually, they typically did that. That was a normal thing. But what if his family is still prominent, but they disavow him because he's fucking crazy, and that's why he can come and go out of the asylum, is because maybe they own the asylum or something along those lines.
That's exactly what I was thinking, is that they still are in prominence, but just don't acknowledge him because he went crazy.
Or that's kind of what I was thinking, is they're still there.
Why not one family?
So we're related?
That's kind of where I was headed with this, is are Treacle and I related, but neither of us use the original family name because the family's still there and powerful.
Yeah, still there.
Treacle's beneath them, and I'm a family I wouldn't have been except for what happened out there, and now I am a profound family embarrassment. And maybe the ghost mentor that I have was like, well, you know what? Screw them anyway. You need to cut off the chains of your old life to fully embrace this,
But and then I could see Uncle Treacle coming in too and saying, not saying directly, but just sort of metaphorically, it's just like, you don't need to cut off the chains. It's fuck our family. I mean, they threw us under the bus, but we can still have something here, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or if that's where you kind of want to go with that.
And so maybe Proust was never his real name because he had to go through a rebirth, quote unquote. Whereas maybe, and once again, maybe in Eric's case, he just stopped using the name because it was too high profile.
Maybe they won't let him use the name.
Yeah, or they won't let him use the name.
Strip me of my name.
Now, are you guys like cousins? Because if you're like cousins, you could even Eric could still go with the original plan he had for his family, being like maybe his father married beneath what they thought was, becoming of his title or something, and they kicked him out of the family. So we
are doing a lot of talking too.
Yeah,
and I want to give Eric a voice here. Like, what do you want? I like where all of this is going. What spin do you want to put on this, Eric?
Well, I was thinking that Dan, you're saying that Dr. Proust saw some shit when he went out on this whaling ship. What if our family is like a shipping family? And maybe my father was in charge of like that particular fleet or that particular boat or something like that. And whatever happened to that boat ultimately, like whatever lost cargo or whatever, ultimately fell back on him. And that's the family, it ruined contracts, and they had to make my family the black sheep and just kind of cut them off. So then they went to this neighborhood, this poor neighborhood, and had to scratch out a living there.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. And if your family is owns fleets of whaling ships stuff, that's like basically saying you're Texas oil billionaires.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Because that means that's just not a scandal and you fall. That's like, being thrown out of heaven and hitting the ground like a lightning bolt. That's a big fall. I love it.
I wonder if, maybe that being the case, I wonder if the family name is Proust, that he still uses the family name.
And he's not supposed to.
He's not supposed to, but there's not a whole lot they can do about it because he's crazy.
I mean,
and where he's at now, he's also
you're
kind of untouchable.
Yeah, maybe nobody believes you're a Proust, or the people you're around at least.
Yeah,
unless it gets pushed enough.
And then I could see like Eric and you are two sides of the same coin as far as this family thing goes. It's just like you're crazy and you use the name, but they're not supposed to, but you can't. They can't stop you. Eric doesn't use the name because he wants to, though. There's a part of him that either misses that life or maybe at the same time wants to stick it to those types of people. Too.
What if we kept going with this? What if Eric, just as Brodor knows my enemy, what if Eric knows my mentor, which is the possessed psychiatrist at the head of this hospital, and Eric goes to him and basically says, he knows I'm in there. And he hires them or hires me, not just because of what I can do, because there's a family name there. And there's this almost Count of Monte Cristo sort of plan that's being unfolded to sort of avenge the family that he, meaning Eric, fell from, or take revenge against them, the family he fell from. And one of the first really passive-aggressive things he can do is take the crazy guy and have him still out there using the family name. That Eric's no longer a Rockefeller, but I am. And that's an intentional part of a dig at them to constantly create this sort of low churn of upper crust embarrassment and gossip.
There's a Proust out there who's doing all these weird things, and
yeah, there's not a whole lot they can do about it because once again, he's locked up in a mental institution most of the time. And when he's not, he's in these kind of dark parts of town. And now he's got a crew he runs with. I mean, going back to Chaz, the loners don't make it. He's got a crew that he runs with. He's got, sounds like gang protection or full gang protection is, being built. And so he's it's not that he's untouchable, but to get to him on the streets or to get to him in the asylum would take such an undertaking that the family probably wants to do it, but hasn't figured out how to do it. Or, maybe some of the jobs we're doing is a step-by-step of trying to disassemble the Proust empire. And my character's fine with that because he sees the whole thing as corrupt and unrighteous anyway.
So it sounds like you guys, for the old guard, I see two things. I see the old guard and the young Turks kind of coming together. I see the old guard kind of reaching out a hand to these three younger guys and bringing them up. And I see you guys kind of working together to kind of do that. So I guess the question is, how are you two kind of bringing these guys up, and why? And then also for the young guard, for the young Turks down there, why are you taking the hand that's being reached out to you?
I think for Uncle Treacle and in Spider fashion, this is stuff he's been grooming for a long time. Mm. He's groomed these three young Turks, for a specific purpose. And I really do like the scorned, disowned family, black sheep wanting revenge on the bigger family that ruined his father and mother, and they ended up dying of the pox because they weren't living the way that they used to, and that was like their greatest regret. Or maybe even whatever happened to that ship wasn't even really their fault. They were kind of like the scapegoats, the sacrificial lambs to, they messed up, we're going to do this to them. And so he always had that burning desire to get revenge for his mom and dad. And then seeing that and, kind of putting these things into motion of, I need to develop a crew who's willing to do whatever. And, but then also that could be like that would be the Uncle Treacle's like ultimate motivation. But as this starts to get bigger, it like spins out of his control, whereas, because Proust is wanting to start this cult, and then, you've got everybody else wanting to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. So, in the beginning it was Treacle's trying to pull all these threads that he's been laying this groundwork for all this time. He finally gets what he wants. And then it starts to like, he's got to try and
I'm going to offer you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chad.
No. Go ahead, please.
I'm going to offer you a horse trade. If you will let me use the cohorts instead of waiters and waitresses to build out
you can have multiple cohorts.
Oh, you can. So,
every single person here can have their own cohort.
Okay. Because what I was going to say is, if you kind of what if what I was going to suggest. So in this,
pitch your idea without
forget the rules. Forget the rules. Yeah, forget the rules. All right. So the concept here is, what if in this broader quest for revenge, my character's intelligent, but he's crazy. His big plans aren't rational, or at least won't sound rational to an outsider. You have a much more concrete, rational plan. You want to take down this family that is way too powerful, destroyed your life, blah, 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 blah. What if what I'm doing, including that cult, is one of the assets you are using or manipulating? And so what I'm offering here is the horse trade of, if you allow me to take a little bit of a bigger hand in how you're shaping the group, I will set it up such that my mentor is working with you, and I am one of the assets you are manipulating.
Okay.
And I won't buck against that whipple tree.
All right. So the guy who runs the asylum is kind of, he's either with me or in my pocket, is what you're saying?
I'm saying he's at least agreeing that you guys that this is all headed the same direction. That taking down the Proust family is in his advantage, or is to his advantage, is also to yours. And therefore he is happy to give to you at a very bargain basement price, if not for free, my services, which work for you because you and I know each other anyway, and we're both outcasts of the same family.
Let me
You see them as backstabbers. I see them as unrighteous.
let me pitch out to, and I don't want to sound like I'm putting the kibosh on that, but let me roll it back for just a moment too. I really liked Eric's original, or not original, but something that you had said a little bit ago about how you were bringing up these young Turks because, it was part of your plan and you need this muscle. And, it's like Dr. Prowse, he's crazy, but you can trust him and he's family and he's been through the same thing you are. And we're going to take down the thing because it's what Uncle Treacle, want. And as the whole thing is starting to coalesce and come together, what Dr. Proust wants and what Reggie wants and what Alex wants and what Jack wants is not actually what you want. And now it's starting to kind of unravel. And then I see Uncle Treacle at this crossroads of, do I really want this? Or maybe I do want this and now I can't have it. Or how far am I willing to go with these people that I actually now care about? It's like you can only manipulate people you love so far, right? And I think that it creates a lot of RP sort of things. It's like, does Uncle Treacle try to put the spin on it enough to get what he wants, or does Uncle Treacle feel like, maybe I got to let go of my shit, and I'm finding more fulfillment helping these people? Or any number of different paths too. Because, and the reason why I throw that out there too is it's like you guys have really good ideas, and with the family and stuff, it's creating a lot of characters, a lot of stuff like that, and it's almost creating too much. And the reason, and where I'm going with that is, Reggie, Alex, and Jack are not part of your family, and they don't give a shit about your revenge. They may give a shit about your revenge if you guys can make them care about it, but it's your two stories. It's not the whole story.
Yeah, but, here's kind of how I picture it. Why they would care, because and maybe this is because of the similarities in genre, but a lot of this feels very, very Arkham to me. And I don't mean Arkham Horror. I mean Arkham Asylum. The whole thing has sort of a Batman-ish feel to it. I'm not leaning to that too hard. But what if that family isn't just our problem? I mean, what if it's kind of a Court of Owls sort of thing, where they are a problem for everyone?
I tell you what, that is 100% up to those three.
Okay, yeah, I think maybe this is where we need some input from the other three.
So let's pause the Proust family dynasty here and roll down to the Young Turks. So you guys, this is street level now. You guys are young. You guys are coming up. You're coming up together. And as I love Brodor's idea though too of, we're friends. We're coming up together, but now there's like money, power, rep on the table, and it's not complicated, but this is where things could get complicated. So the question is, it's like you Uncle Treacle and Dr. Proust, and they are established, right? They have this sort of criminal thing that they're established, and they've kind of been lifting you guys up a bit. What do you guys want? You have this vague notion that there's this sort of family drama thing going on too, but why are you guys in it? Why are you guys getting lifted up?
Jack's the kind of character, he doesn't think the big picture. He's not thinking the long term. For him, it's a case of Dr. Proust saved him from something he couldn't understand, so he puts him on a pedestal. This crazy guy is my hero. And so he wants to watch out for him and protect him. And I think that's not something I originally had in mind for the character, But with the tie-in with Alexander, I think that's something he's developed a bit of a, protective streak for these people that he's his found family. And while he doesn't have big ambitions, he wants to make sure that these people are all safe and that they can work on their big ambitions. So in his case, it's partially going with the flow, but it's also, there's a lot of dangerous stuff happening, and I want to protect all of them while this is going on. That's kind of how I see him.
What about you two?
So I'm of the opinion that I'm very keen on the family drama in terms of how it can benefit me in social status. Now, I don't know in gameplay what that's going to look like, right? But if going up, helping Uncle Treacle and Dr. Proust go up against this whaling family can certainly benefit me in terms of my social status, but also wealth. I'm very, very keen on that. I'm also very keen on assisting them in return for all of the upbringing that they've provided for me over this time.
What about Reggie?
I would think that Reggie probably he definitely looks up to Uncle Treacle probably more than Proust, because I would think Proust, like I said, is at least the dealings that Reggie would have had with him would have been more medical purposes, and Reggie's probably one of those people that thinks Proust is crazy, but one of those like, he's crazy, but he's harmless kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that if Reggie found out that everything that had led up to a certain moment, that it was all for them just to get revenge on some family squabble, he would almost feel betrayed because he saw them as family. Yeah. So if my family doesn't actually give a fuck about the family I thought I had, and they're just using me to get back at the family that they have a problem with, well, I have a huge issue with that, because I already have trust issues with a normal family as it is. Mm-hmm. So if it were something that were revealed to him that was the big picture, I don't think it would be good. If it was something that was like, I mean, if that's a story point to like kind of push towards, as far as like, I learned that or something.
Yeah.
It's gradual or something like that. I think that'd be interesting.
Well,
but that's how the character would respond, I think.
Yeah. And I like that too. I like the idea of the family drama, and I like the idea of the young ones coming up and maybe looking at how they could work an angle to it. And I also like Reggie's thing of, it's like, why do you care about that family? We're the family, sort of thing. And I really like that intersection too of, again, and I'll bring it back too, of Uncle Treacle having this grand plan, and then it kind of all like unraveling because it everybody has different goals and stuff.
Yeah, it's going to come to a crossroads at some point, because maybe not with Jack per se, because it sounds like he just.
Now, actually, that kind of ties into some of his things too. He's always had a problem of, he's always asking, what is someone really wanting from me versus trusting them? Mm-hmm. And I think that he has grown to trust.
Right.
So he would probably have kind of a similar reaction, though maybe not as strong as Reggie. It's something that would be more, instead of anger, it would be hurt.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because the way I was thinking about it when we kind of like were making Treacle someone who was bringing us together, Reggie would probably look at him as like a father figure, because he didn't have one. So Uncle Treacle would basically be it.
Yeah.
And like, he would be the person, like, if he asked me to do something, without question, I would do it. But if I'm finding out it's at my expense for nothing,
Are you family or are you a pawn?
yeah, am I
Sort of
doing
thing.
this for you or for us? Kind of thing.
Yeah, which is great role play. It's great role play, but it's like if it goes down a certain path, it's just like, yes, you are the pawn of my revenge. It's like, cool, check you later, sort of thing. It would be,
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say at some point, and I'm asking, I guess, rhetorically, at some point, can your character reconcile that the two aren't mutually exclusive? That we can have loyalty and camaraderie and familial love for one another and still be hell bent on making these other fuckers suffer.
Yeah, because where I would like to go with it too is basically it's turning into an Uncle Treacle, Dr. Prost story, and I think it would be so neat to do that, and then those two characters kind of come to terms of like, well, there's more important things going on. There's we're bringing these 3 to them kids up here. It's like maybe that's the important thing. Or maybe there's this other grander side goal too, where it's just like, okay, well that's where it lies. Or you guys all gel together and say, no, it's not about your revenge, but these fuckers need to be brought down and we are,
I think for Reggie, the end goal is what's really important. Is it just to get back at a family and like that's it? Like you're just getting back at someone to try to tear them down? Or is it you're trying to lift up those that would be seen as unfortunate? Are you trying to lift up those that are, part of what we pseudo perceive as family? Like, so I think that would be ultimately that's what it would come down to is what is the end goal for their squabble with the family that kicked them out.
Yeah, I built in with Jack a lot of self-doubt and no one would ever actually care about me to the character because I want that to be his arc of the game. To realize that even though someone sees value in you for your size and strength, that maybe they actually, maybe there can be more to that too. Maybe there is something. I want him to come to the realization over the course of the game that he has something to offer more than just he's 6'4" and humongous.
Yeah. And I think that from a very grand arc of the game, I think that's a really cool arc of, it's like there's revenge, there's outrage, there's, wanting to better yourself, there's loyalty, but ultimately, do you guys see a path where each of your characters come to respect each other, basically, where it's like you're lifted up, you don't feel used, you want to gain the respect of the other characters and that sort of thing.
Oh, sure, but that's not for me to say.
Right. No, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, and I'm not saying, you need to arrow towards that.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, that could absolutely be an outcome. Right.
And I think it's just a valid of an outcome, too, to say, that doesn't happen, where it's just like, no, I don't respect you. You're so wrapped up in yourself or the BS or whatever, where, and not just like between Uncle Treacle and Dr. Proust and that, but, like even say Reggie and Alex, where it's just like, Reggie's like, all you care about is social climbing and money. This is not why we joined it. Now it's like, then why did we join it?
But Reggie, I mean, I care about those things a lot, but it's not all I care about. Not at all.
So cool. So let's kick back up a level to the old guard up there. After hearing all of that, what do you guys think of your story? Because I see 2 stories happening here, and that's not a lot of games. That's a bad thing. I don't see it as a bad thing in this one. because I see two stories kind of coming together. So the Dr. Prouse Uncle Treacle story. What do you guys think of your story after hearing all of that from these guys?
I think that the main thing that we'd need to be sure of is exactly what we were just working on, which is the fact that there is lateral connection between these groups. So like in the case of Brodorf, I'm also helping him deal with a literal demon. Then that connects us. In Wayne's case, maybe he was involved in the same incident or whatever, and that, that's where he got his scars, and so that's kind of how he knows me. But to build something a bit deeper, as crazy as he is, most of what he does tends to result in, I won't say good, but I will say generally positive outcomes.
He's not like a seedy, he's not malicious person.
He's not
a doctor, not a vivisection.
He's not Jack the Ripper. Something else that could be a possible connection I can offer is I have never defined exactly whose ghost it is that's possessing the head psychiatrist. So it's possible it's somebody that one of the young guard knows. Or someone the group as a whole knows. And maybe, of course, he's a ghost now. That changes things. But you know how Wayne in that one game had his father in the spirit bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if in this game I've got Wayne's father? That's just a random example.
Right,
you get the idea.
Yeah.
And maybe in that regard, it's not just about a cult. There's a human relationship there. And I'm just using Wayne as an example. Yeah. Wayne's father doesn't want to see him get killed by this demon. So while it may not be the sole purpose of whatever I'm up to, one of the purposes he has dedicated me to is to being with this group simply as a level of protection against those kinds of things or something. And that has nothing to do with my family or Eric's family at all. So I'm not saying
the plan or the goal or anybody's thing. It's because you care about him and he cares about it, or any of these three guys.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least somebody who's got a hold of my leash cares. So I'm not. I don't know. Let's just consider that an open bit of bait if anyone in the group finds it interesting.
It doesn't really fit for Jack because he didn't know his parents. And I think we've got a strong enough connection as it is because he has a little bit of I don't want to call it full hero worship for Dr. Proust, but, the things that I can't punch, you can handle. And so he already looks up to you to a degree because of that. So I think I've got a strong enough connection already.
Yeah, if we were trying to figure out a parent, I am an orphan, and I don't think I would have known my parents. The idea was that I was basically abused growing up by really shitty. It was essentially my aunt raised me, sort of, her and some other woman, and they were just really awful.
Let me invert the question. Instead of me throwing out bones or Eric throwing out bones, what could we say that would entice the three of you, this is the kind of connection you're looking for?
I was not thinking that my character had any sort of bad relationship with his parents other than running away from home. Not that they were bad people. He just didn't want the life that he thought he was going to have living with them and thought he could do better on his own. So I don't know how that vision fits with what you're thinking.
Well, no, it's the other way around. I'm asking you, what are you thinking? What could I make true about me or my situation that you'd be like, yes, that's where I can latch in?
Well, certainly I would think that once I attracted the attention of whatever that demon creature was that happened on the chart from last game, I certainly think that if nothing else, I would have sought out expertise and assistance with that, because as a leech, that's not an area of expertise that I have. So I certainly would have wanted your assistance with that sort of thing. And so maybe we've been working together since I am studious on investigating that demon and that thing.
And I also, with the family thing and it's no longer a dotted line connection between Uncle Treacle and Dr. Proust. It's a very solid line. I mean, the way I see it, these two are a pair, right? You know one, you know the other. And if you have a connection to one, you have a connection to the other automatically. Just by the nature of their relationship and how they work too. So you don't necessarily need to have a straight solid line to one or the other, as long as you have a solid line to one of them.
Yeah. And I mean, are you just looking for something to be more solid with each one of us? Is that what you're saying, Dan?
Yeah, I'm just trying, like I said, to draw.
Because you don't want to just be the crazy doctor. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
And so I'm asking, what is it in there that I could either amplify?
Burke.
Oh, Dan's getting robbed.
A second. But I guess what I'm just saying is, what could I make true about my character to make me something more to you guys than simply just
so
a
really
crazy
it's just,
doctor who
it's
coincidentally
just
happens to be there.
It's just me then, right? Because it sounds like Jack is pretty solidified on like how he feels about you, and the only thing that could go any further is if you turned out to be his dad. And then
damn it, that's my whole plot.
you're pretty solidified with Alexander because you guys kind of have the whole demon thing in common. With me, I would think I don't know. I think I would see you as almost endearing, right? Like you're a caregiver, which is something that I'm not used to. And even though it seems like such a small thing, I don't think it would be that small of a thing to Reggie for you to have patched him up so many times. And maybe it's something to where well,
and think of it this way too. You've known Uncle Treacle, all three of you have known Uncle Treacle since you were kids. Right. And he's been kind of behind the scenes, doing his thing.
Yeah.
Well, you and Jack, especially, and Alexander by just, sort of a situation. Association. Yeah. You have been getting busted up and broken up since you were a kid.
Yeah.
There is no medical insurance.
Yeah, my idea for my character is he was busted up a lot. So what I was going to say was it's probably a situation where, because you're not a monster. It doesn't sound like you're like a heartless person. You've seen kids come to you with broken arms and fucking bloody faces. I'm assuming that at some point you were endearing to us and we're like, you guys have to take care of yourselves. Hey, you need to keep that chin up. Or we had conversations. Like you're someone we know, and I wouldn't go to anybody else. And I probably only went to you because of Uncle Treacle. So
you've been taking care of these kids since they were kids.
Right.
Before whatever happened to you on the ship.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you came back, here's what endears you to them. And it's not the cult. It's not the crazy. It's not Uncle Treacle. It's not anything. Here's what endears you to these three. You've been taking care of these three since they were kids. You went out to sea. Something happened and it broke you. When you came back, everybody treated you like a madman. Except these three.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, these three and then one psychiatrist who is using me.
And like I said, I definitely Reggie's on the side of like, oh, he's definitely crazy, but it's like but he's harmless. I don't think of it as like a
he's so kooky.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I don't know what happened to him. It's almost like I feel sorry. Like I know who you used to be.
What Reggie's seen and what Reggie does, his tolerance for bad is a little different than your average person's too. Yeah. So like he might not see he could see Dr. Proust doing some bad shit and it's just like that's called Thursday night. So
I like the idea of my two dads. I like this.
Yeah. I do too. where Uncle Treacle lay in this spider web and he's gonna bring these kids up. There's gonna be a secret army, and then fuck, I care about them. Shit, sort of
two
thing.
dads. I will say this though. I think that even though Alexander had this thing with a demon, I mean, are demons like a really well-known thing, or is it something that people do disbelieve?
No, nobody does. They are real. People know that they're real.
Damn, I was going to be like, I don't know about all that crap. But
no, you know
I guess
about
I
it.
I have to understand it. Okay. Fine.
Every single person in Duskwall has had some sort of encounter or experience with a ghost or demon, usually a ghost. And there, I mean, it's beyond it. It's like, yeah, the sky is blue. It's the sun comes up. Ghosts walk.
If that's the
around,
case, maybe because I never knew my parents were killed by a demon or something.
Mhm.
And that's
hey, maybe this demon that hurt Jack is doing bad things with Alex. Basically ripped your parents in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, well, I don't know. I'll talk to Chad about that offline.
Sure. Or is that diluting that NPC?
No. I was going to more allude to that the situation between the demon and I is more gray, and maybe I'm in the wrong.
I think that still plays, to be honest. If
absolutely,
like
right?
Because then that
criminals. We're all in the wrong.
Absolutely.
That also creates a very negative point for Jack and I, who Jack has been attacked, and if I know about it or I find out about this, if this is the same demon that murdered my parents, which I'm making myself a superhero at this point. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah, well,
or at least Harry Potter.
I kind of love that idea that maybe Alexander made a deal and didn't keep up his part of the bargain.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and then that may or may not. I mean, who knows the timeline? But that invocation or that failure may have led to freeing or empowering to some degree that may have led to his responsibility. I mean, him essentially, because Alexander fucked up, maybe he's responsible for other people, getting hurt.
Heavy, man.
Yep. Nice. Heavy. All right. So I'm just making a couple of notes here.
I just want to make a real quick point.
Yes.
I don't want Uncle Treacle to be like this, I'm betraying the group or I'm using the group. I think the way I want it to be is that was then. And as we start, day one, start the game, he's going through this this personal crisis of, like you said, do I really want to do this? Because you said, he's starting to care for them, but he's also starting to see things outside of his revenge. And I want that arc to be going from revenge to, revenge versus family to family.
Yeah. I'm down. That's awesome. I dig it. Okay. So I think we can pause talking about the characters and I think they're all connected and stuff, almost to the point where we could just start role playing this out anyway. But there are a couple of questions I have. So now we're going to move away from the characters, the connections, you guys, that sort of thing. 1 second. I have to make a note here. What is your guy's demon called? What is this demon called?
I named her Lily.
Lily.
As sort of a riff on Lilith.
Yep. Okay. So I think we got the characters pretty well established, how they know each other and stuff. That's all good stuff. I'm going to ask you guys a couple of just sort of basic questions here about the game in general, the game at large. So did that one. How much? So Blades in the Dark is a game that has a lot of like spiritual stuff. And what I mean by spiritual stuff, it's ghosts, demons, magic. It's all like it's lower key yet it is still kind of in your face. There's like techno magic and stuff. But it is a game about crime. It's a game about criminals and crime and committing crime and setting yourself up to do more crime, and crime is great.
Perfect.
So what are your guys' percentages here? How much of the spiritual weird stuff do you guys want to see? And I don't need specifics. Just sort of a broad sense. How much of the weird stuff do you want in the game versus how much of the straight up lock, stock, and two smoking barrels were taking down a bank or something like that? The crime, we're dealing with gangs, we're dealing with gang politics, we're dealing with neighborhood stuff versus we're dealing with, ghosts possessing people and opening doorways to insanity dimensions and lightning shooting out your ass and that sort of thing.
I go with 80-20 or 90-10 in favor of the crime side.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but yeah, that's about it. I would want anything supernatural, even though I still really want it in the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
not necessarily skimp on it, but if it happens, I want it to feel special. I don't want it to be like, we just finished pickpocketing some guy, and then now we're dealing with a demon immediately, and then the next thing we do is go rob some theater, and then immediately we're dealing with ghosts.
I pickpocket a guy. It's not a guy; it's a demon.
It's a demon.
I run from him into a ghost.
Like playing Ghostbusters.
You really hit on what I was thinking. It's like I want to be able to do heist hit things and just deal with them like that. Mm-hmm. But then when the paranormal, supernatural, whatever comes in, I want you to creep us out. Not just our characters. I want you to creep me out as a person.
Exactly what I was
weird stuff that you're going to bring in.
I say I want it to be there though, because otherwise, me playing a whisper becomes kind of pointless. I might as well just. Mm-hmm. But I'm with them in that. I think this should be predominantly a Dickensian
Does the whisper? Can you use ghosts to like plan things too? Can you Yeah. Okay. I was going to say,
call them in and do shit.
Yeah, I can make them do things, but I don't know. I don't remember. I'll have to look at my character sheet here to see where I was putting the points exactly.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I haven't fallen asleep or anything. I could not. I mean, anything that I would have said has already been said 4 times.
I put down in my notes here, how much spiritual stuff versus non-spiritual stuff is a question. They want crime, have the weird, but it's special. Yeah. I think that if every episode is a ghost, then ghosts aren't special, and then you occasionally have crime, and it's just like, we're robbing a bank? What? Yeah. I don't even remember how to do that. We're criminals?
Well, and then also you'd get the reverse problem. Instead of me asking, why am I playing a whisper, everyone else would be asking, why are they not?
Yeah.
And so I don't want to.
And that's the thing, too, is that the supernatural stuff that isn't controlled, like seeing a ghost, all 4 of you that aren't a whisper will get freaked out about it, like mechanically. Like I will have to tell you, it's a ghost. I've seen it. No, you're fucking. Did you wear the brown pants? Is the question. And only
I don't wear pants. Joke's on you, Chad.
So that's a limiter for me too. Is that if I hit you with the weird shit all the time, I'm screwing, 1/5 of the or 4/5 of the party. Yeah. So it's gonna be a little bit of bouncing it, but yeah, I hear you guys loud and clear. We want crime and heists, and you guys are scoundrels, and that's awesome.
We want to play Thief. We want to play PC game Thief in board game, like just the right amount of demons and ghosts to deal with, but mostly you're stealing shit from rich people.
You want the clockwork eye.
Yes,
you can pull out of your skull. Roll down the hallway, and you see out of the eye as you hide behind the corner. You can see the guards coming.
Yeah, magic.
Well, yeah. Now, I mean, I feel exactly the opposite about tech. Like I'm playing a leech, and I love tech, and I want the grapple hook and the gas gun and I want the eyeball. I want that for sure.
For sure.
I want a mech. not to control. I want to go up against something like that, like a big mechanical
like
dude,
a clockwork golem,
like a clockwork golem or something. Yeah,
that'd be pretty dope.
Oh, you will.
all right.
You will.
I have a question, gameplay wise. Then on special abilities, you only get one to pick out at first. Do you get more later on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm already halfway to my second one, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I am not so close to second one, but I am also working on.
Yep. And Brandon, I'm gonna before the next game, I'm gonna take a look at like one of these guys' character sheets, and I'm gonna maybe give you a couple of points so you're up with them.
Okay.
So you're not lagging behind too much. Okay, so my second question here about what you guys want out of the game, it's Dickensian. It's Victorian England. It's very class conscious, right? So you guys are broke. That is kind of the point, mechanical point here, is that you guys have nothing. If you guys say, "Oh, well, I'm in a nice suit. I'm from an expensive family, and I have this," it's like, no, you think you have that, and you actually don't. But there is all these different levels. How much do you guys want this to soar into the stratosphere, right? It's like you guys are starting at street level. Do you guys want to interact with the high class? I mean, rob them, yes. Totally get that. But I'm talking interact with their bullshit. And I don't mean the family plot either. That's a separate thing.
I would think you mean like we have to deal with social settings. Like,
yeah. Do you guys want me to have like you get a note to come to the high class Hellfire Club private room, and the third richest guy in the city is giving you a job, and he wants you to steal the monogrammed handkerchief from this other dude because he has this weird blackmail plot. It's this rich people bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, I want that. Yeah. I want bullshit because those people pay well for stupid quests. Like that's like, oh, steal this handkerchief? What are you going to pay me? 10 times as much as you would have gotten paid for murdering 3 guys. Great. Like absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about you guys? Like, and how much do you guys want to deal with their bullshit, or do you want to keep the plot at street level? You're going to be robbing these assholes no matter what, or killing them, or smuggling for whatever you guys are doing. But
I'm going to go 80-20 in favor of street level. So I too would like some upper crust stuff.
Sure.
Lower middle class is where I want to swim.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and that lines into some of the stuff you guys were saying earlier too, is that you want to build your gang. You want to build your crew. Right. You want to build yourself up. So you got to start at the bottom to do that. Yeah. So that works.
Okay. I like the idea that no matter what we do, we're always lower class. So we would never be accepted by them in any way. Like if we somehow became like one of the richest gangs there is, and we could rival those millionaires that exist, we're still not part of that inclusive club. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to like the subplot of the whole, Proust family and stuff like that, the more we deal with those people, the more we're exposed, and that would probably be a bad thing.
Yeah. If that comes to fruition and they complete their quest of revenge, and somehow that leads into them becoming a new family or something, like another pronounced family, like I could see having more of it. But yeah, I think keeping street level makes more sense anyway. I mean, that's where all the fun, like gritty shit is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't want to have to bow to somebody every 2 seconds and say "my lady" and "governor" and all that shit. I'm all about it. I'm going to do that, but I don't want that to be 100% of my interactions with people.
Yep. Because I ran a Blades game where it was very much about building a gang and the street level stuff, and it was about gang politics, and it was a gang war. Basically, a gang war erupted, and it was about these guys' place in that gang war. Then I ran another one where it was very different because they were assassins. It was about the politics, and the highest levels are the politicians and the people who run the country. And it was about this very high level military versus spy agencies versus rich people, sort of Manchurian candidate, assassin thing. They were never really on the street. So no, that's cool. I do like the gritty street level stuff. Cool. So the other question I have, and some of you I think Wayne is going to be able to answer a lot of this, or at least answer questions for you guys because he's been in all of my Blades games. What do you guys not want in this game? And that's not necessarily an X card question here, but themes, storylines, plot lines. What do you not want me to do? What do you guys just do not give a shit about?
I don't want to go on a boat.
Like any flotation device, or like
no. I mean, I don't want something where it's set like we're set on a ship or anything like that.
The reason I ask is there's canals that run through the city.
No, that's fine. I'm not afraid of water. It's just I just don't want to be like in a ship's crew for.
He doesn't want to be out to sea.
Yeah,
not a problem. In fact, one of my sort of design goals for the game is to not have you leave the city. Last game I had them leave the city, but yeah, you guys are going to stay in the walls, no boats. That was actually something Wayne had requested, I believe, in the last game too. Is I want to get on a fucking boat. So cool. There will be boats. You will see boats, but that's because it's a harbor city. So
yeah, I think. With what we're dealing with, I don't want to deal with like revolution and overturning the government and secret newspapers and things like that.
Yeah, small ball. Yeah, small ball.
No world-ending quest line. Like
no problem. The world's already ended, so yeah.
Well, I don't want like if we don't do this, we're all like everyone is wiped out kind of thing. I don't want to like an apocalypse situation.
Don't cut the red wire.
Yeah.
Yep. No problem. Street level. Down
I can't think of a ton of stuff, to be honest.
No, and I don't expect like lists and lists and lists of stuff. Actually, this is good. No boats, no revolution, no world-ending bullshit. I'm down with it. That is a lot of. That is good to know.
In the previous two games, we did a little bit too much of punching above our weight limit. And some of that's cool, punching above our weight limit for a gang. But we were dealing with revolutions and the government. And
I mean, I have no problem with doing something like that. Like if something revolutionary like was coming at us and they wanted to just do one thing, fine. But I wouldn't want that to be like, that becomes our storyline. Is now we are aligned with a certain side, and we are doing like you
guys are going to be aligned with your side. That is also one of my design goals. Is because in the previous game with the assassins, it's like they kind of had to like choose. Like there was lesser of two evil type stuff. There were different. It was a spider web. It was a Manchurian candidate, and they had to make some hard choices. I don't want you guys to make those choices like that. It is about you guys and your crew and building yourself up.
I don't want to make loans at a fair, reasonable rate and undercut their previous loan holders.
Yeah, don't be the nicest criminals in Duskwall. It just doesn't work.
Was that the nice crew that you guys told us about?
Yes, that was the one who in their territory, their crimes were bringing
lights.
They put up lights, street lights and stuff because it was too
wanted
dark.
To push out the gang that were doing the slumlords thing. So we bought the buildings and gave them reasonable loans.
Yep, they did rent control. They did low to no interest loans.
So you guys,
for small businesses. You
guys were the George Bailey of fucking rogues.
It was disgusting, but yes. I had to throw a lot of the weird stuff at them There was this whole gang war where it's just like, okay, I wanted them to like move between the edges of this gang war to seize territory and stuff, and they didn't. They just locked down what they had, and they're like, we're fucking Switzerland. Which is
The funny thing is, this is the setting of the game we're in.
yeah, the
Because
first. Go
Dodd's
ahead.
character was in the first session.
Yep. That they got their job from a gang in the first gang's territory because it was neutral ground in Switzerland. Okay,
So I have a question about
yeah,
the
go
red
ahead.
sashes. Are we going to spend
Yes.
this game being their bitch?
You're not their bitch now.
Okay. Well, it sounded like they were way out of our league, and they were.
They are way out of your league.
and that's who we were getting our jobs from.
That's who you
and
got a job from.
a job from. Okay.
Yeah, what happened last game?
I don't know, guys. What happened last game?
What now is that? I mean, I'm assuming that's canon, right? Like that's part
Yes.
of the story that we're telling.
Yes. Well, somebody fill them in on what happened. This is good for me because it shows me what they remember and thus what they care about.
We were given the very simple job of we needed to start a bar brawl, and one big enough that all of the bluecoats would come running.
Bluecoats are like the cops.
Yep. And then as Chad did this, he was doing flashbacks, so we didn't know the full mission as we were playing. It started coming in. So it wasn't just make them all show up. We had to get the major inspector, the chief of the bluecoats, basically. We had to cut off his hand and bring it to
Jesus.
Lars of the Red Sashes.
But you couldn't kill him.
But we couldn't kill him. We just had to cut off his hand and bring his hand to them.
Perfect.
And that was our mission. And it went spectacularly badly because of a couple rolls for a while there. But we started the whole brawl. We had some bad rolls. Uncle Trico did some amazing dancing.
he got a girl's number and a guy's number.
I threw a piano out a window.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Prost stabbed a guy and then made him go cut off the hand and bring it back to heal him.
Yeah, it was some
Yeah.
good shit. Go ahead.
There's a couple important details that Wayne did. I mean, Wayne did an excellent summation, but it's important to note that Seven Squares has the best biscotti in the city, and
Debatable.
and that a man named Lard of the Red Sash is not Lord. He's not the Lord of the Red. He's Lard
Lard.
of the Red Sashes. He is fat like a 70s power lifter.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's strong as fuck.
Yes. He's
Yeah.
basically a cutter. He's a high up guy. He's the one who gave you the mission. So yeah, but to your question, Dan, no, you're nobody's bitch unless you want to be somebody's bitch.
Right. Yeah, and I recognize there's going to be powers that are out of our reach. I'm not asking.
Everybody is out of your reach.
Yeah, I'm not asking we're like God kings of the universe
No.
right out the gate. I'm just saying I don't want to spend the game where it's like, oh, our kings and commanders showed up again. Everybody on your knees and get your sucking lips ready.
He doesn't want to answer to anybody.
Remember, you're a gang, right? I mean, it's prison rules, right? It's you make yourself a bitch, then you're the bitch.
Yeah.
I would not necessarily say that you should go on your first day, go punch the biggest guy in the prison yard, but it's that sort of thing. It's
All right. We have what power we take.
yeah, you have what power you take, what power you project, and when you present weakness, that weakness will be exploited, because when someone else presents weakness to you, I fully expect you to exploit that, and that's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, I needed there are factions in the game, and I needed to present you guys with a friendly, powerful faction as a resource for you guys.
Right. Yeah.
If you pursue it. He offered you affiliation, which basically means it gave me an excuse. You guys get a patch. This is where your hideout's going to be. You guys get a patch. You don't have to pay protection money. it's like adjacent to their territory, like on the border of it or whatever, and they don't send their goons in. Nobody takes protection money from you. It's your patch. What you do from there, you go. But
Yeah.
they can also,
In the
They're kinda-
first game, we tried to bounce around who we were doing missions from, mostly because we didn't want to become too friendly with anyone, because we didn't want them to come in and say, okay, you're one of us now.
Right. I was going to say, so they're kind of, it's not necessarily they're looking out for us, but we're kind of seen as, because we're up and coming, we're more of an asset to them at this moment.
they need independent contractors, and they understand that independent contractors need a space to work.
Right.
And if you guys turn out to be pretty good, they want you working for them. If you turn out to be pretty bad, they cut you loose, and you're somebody else's problem.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of you, and now you can just do the points thing. Would you want to do kind of a session 1 with me, just to like, maybe I was doing something while they were doing something, or even just to get the idea of the mechanics and stuff, so that I don't fumble with that stuff when we actually do play and everybody's already had a session.
I tell you what, yeah, why don't you and I do that? Actually, why don't you, me, and Eric get together next week, and we won't do like a big 4-hour marathon or something, but we'll do like a short game.
Okay.
And Eric can record it, and maybe we'll have I'll think of something. Maybe something else was going on in the meantime or in the background.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything as crazy as what they did. I just kind of want to get
No, it has to be as crazy as what they did.
Absolutely. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be nuts. I'm gonna break your character, so it's gonna be great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but I need to think about it a little bit, and I'll get with you offline.
Okay.
And I'm thinking maybe bring Uncle Treacle into it a little bit. Play with timelines and stuff. But anyway, I got to think about it. So, that's. Is there anything else you guys don't want to see in here? What I have is no boats, no revolutions, no world-ending quest, and they don't want to be anybody's bitch.
Sounds pretty good.
Dan's is the most important one.
I don't know why it's last on the list, but
that on number 1.
Save the best for last, right?
Best for last. Yeah. Ain't nobody's bitch.
You know what? Write that down twice.
Right. No, I will. Yeah. Ain't nobody's bitch.
Honestly, I can't think of anything I don't really want to see, because I mean, I have an idea of how the world works and everything, but I can't think of anything that wouldn't be fun with this group, other than the things we already said.
My silence is not apathy. It is just it is a testament to my trust for you as a game master.
Awesome. And like I said, I'm not looking for a big, gigantic 20-point list. What we have is great. That answers all my questions. Is there anything that you want me to avoid? This is the hippy dippy X card question here. There's a couple of things that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to take out kids. I know Wayne's answer. I'm not going to hurt animals. And I don't do torture. I mean, you guys want to put the thumb screws to somebody? That's cool. I'm just going to do a fade to black, and we'll make a roll. Because I don't.
I mean, that's really how torture should be done in a situation in a game anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I know how you run these games, and I know that anything I would come up with, you already aren't going to put into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the same way about sexual assault. I mean, it being a subject of after the fact, that's okay, but I don't need to dwell on that. I don't need the George R.R. Martin 8 pages of fucking child rape.
I run a lot of our group, Wayne and I's other group, has been either equal amount of women or more majority women, and I've ran for them plenty of times. And it's not even a matter of I've run for women, so I don't put rape in my games for them. It's a matter of I've never wanted to explore that.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not clear what there is to explore.
Right. Yeah, it's a disgusting act altogether, and the idea of even a lot of times just thinking about it makes me sick. I wouldn't want to play. I am definitely a person that doesn't really have an X card.
Sure,
but if somebody were to be like, and that person's raped, okay, that was a little random. Like I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
I don't want a Hills Have Eyes game.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's just not on the radar. So it's completely disinteresting to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see here. I think that is the last of the questions that I had. Does anyone have any requests or questions or anything, comments, anything like that for me? Anything I didn't think of?
No.
Nothing at the moment.
I do not.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Cool. All right.
All I know is that we have 1 heat and 2 coin.
So that brings us back to the story of the game here. And this is the mechanical part of it. The crew. We're going to do the crew sheet here. So, you guys are all the characters. A gang, you guys are not a gang. A gang is comprised of crews. You guys are a crew. A crew does not have to be a part of a gang. But you are a crew. So crews can be invented. I'm going to suggest, since we have a lot of first-time players here, we don't invent a crew. And I've never actually invented a crew. It's a little more complex than I want to deal with. The crew playbooks are assassins, which that's pretty obvious what they are. Bravos are they're the knuckle draggers who go in and collect protection money. They do shakedowns, bodyguard work. They're tough, fighters. They're not necessarily mouth breathers, but they're the we like a scrap. We're the soldiers in a gang sort of thing. A cult, which is obviously what a cult is. Hawkers. Now, again, everybody's criminal. These guys are sellers. They sell drugs. They sell prostitutes. They sell anything illegal they get their hands on, and they sell it. Shadows are your thieves. They do rooftop work. They break into things. They steal things. They can do spy stuff, espionage stuff. They steal anything that can be stolen: money, information, that sort of thing. Sneaking into somewhere, breaking into somewhere. It doesn't even have to be necessarily stealth. It is just somewhere you're not supposed to be, or knowing something you're not supposed to know. These guys go in and take it, or they know it, and then they get out. Smugglers are the other side of hawkers. They are smugglers. They smuggle illegal stuff. They have contacts. They know all the secret hidden ways, that sort of thing. And I believe that there are actually I'm looking at a website right now because they have fillable playbooks. Assassins, bravos, cult, hawkers, shadows, smugglers. I believe that there's another one somewhere about vigilantes or something, which kind of goes against the crime thing. But as a request, I told these guys, I'm just saying this for you, Brandon, as a request, I do not run a game where people play cultists. Now, that doesn't mean Dan and what Dan's doing and all that. As an individual, that's great. As a crew playbook, I don't do cultists, because to me, that's not what Blades in the Dark is about. Because the cultist playbook is very much about opening gateways, summoning demons, worshiping dark powers, and that's cool and all. If we're going to do that, let's play Call of Cthulhu or something. It's just not where it's
not the story you want to tell.
Yeah, I like scoundrels, criminals, daring, desperate, sort of, adventurous thieves type people. So yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to suggest either Bravos or Shadows, and leaning towards Shadows for what we've said, because we want to rob stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because Wayne's character and mine are definitely Bravos. How does that fit into a Shadows crew? Because
the thing you have to remember, they even say this in the book too, is do not pigeonhole your character to the crew, right? you can play smugglers. That does not mean that you are smuggling 24/7. Smugglers can rob stuff. Smugglers can collect protection money. Smugglers can do the gang thing, that sort of thing. But it is mechanically, this is the well you're drawing from as far as abilities and whatnot. And then from a story standpoint, this is how the criminal underground sees you. Your reputation is that of X. How you do that and present that is completely up to you. Can a crew with a whisper, 2 knuckle draggers, a spider, a tinker, and no actual shadows or slides be shadows? Absolutely.
Yeah, when you look at what you do to get XP for the crew, for a shadow, it's execute a successful espionage, sabotage, or theft operation.
Mm-hmm.
You can steal something by kicking down a door and taking it.
Yeah.
For Bravos, it is execute a successful battle, extortion, sabotage, or smash and grab operation.
Right. And think of it this way too. The you want to rob.
What page are these on?
That is page 92 is when it starts. When you say you're playing shadows, you want to rob the rich guy's house and steal his wife's jewelry. And there's a guard there. You know, he's got guards and stuff. It's maybe not a matter of slipping by them through the rooftops. Maybe it's more of a matter of the spider using his contacts to, like, the street urchins come and distract one of the guards while the 2 cutters get in there, and there's a guard by the door, and they just annihilate him and shove him into a trash can while the leech picks the lock on the door and disables the alarm system and then plucks his eye out and rolls it down the hallway so you can see it, while the whisper pulls down a nearby hidden spirit and has asked the spirit to walk through the house to see if there's anything, like magical or something there. Whatever. You don't necessarily don't pigeonhole yourself into thinking that, oh, well, we're pretty punchy, so we're going to be bravos. It's really about what you want people to see you as. It's going to kind of define the jobs you get too. You guys take bravos, you're going to do some shakedowns and some kicking down doors. Do shadows, you're going to more, sneak in stuff and take stuff.
I'm looking over the sheets. I could go with either. I'm actually slightly leaning toward the Bravos, but that's a slight lean. It's like a 51-49 sort of thing. I'm fine with either Shadows or Bravos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at maybe we should all look these over, because it looks like this pretty much determines how you play the game. I mean, really, but
what I'm going to do. I am going to share my screen. Host disabled, participant screen sharing. Eric.
Let me see. Try that.
All right. Share screen. There we go. Boop. Share. Think. Can you guys see my screen?
See.
All right. So, whoop. All right. These are fillable playbooks. Wayne had found these. So, I won't go through all of them, but Bravos and Shadows. So, can you guys read that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is, and I realize that the folks following along at home, if you're still awake and listening to this, I apologize for the scintillating, babbling here, but we are looking at a crew playbook, and we're looking at the Bravos right now. So if you want to pause the recording and jump online and then take a look at find the playbook for this, for the crew sheet for it, then you can kind of follow along with what we're looking at here. So I'm just going to go through real quick. It's like, this is the name of your gang. This is the layer. So when we make this, you get one thing. I think you get I believe you get 2 coins and a layer, and that's like about it. I have to look it up. You guys define your layer. It's like, is it an old? The assassins had an old abandoned mansion. I don't remember what the first guys had. They had maybe a warehouse or something. But you guys define this is your hideout. You can live there, or maybe you live elsewhere, but this is your hideout, and it is a hideout. Nobody knows where it is, right? I mean, sure, in the game, the Red Sashes kind of gave you a patch, but that's like a whole big neighborhood, right? So when you advance at the end of each session for each item below, mark 1 or 2 XP if that item occurred multiple times, or mark 1 XP or 2 XP if that item occurred multiple times. So XQ success. So when you guys are doing stuff, the crew sheet is getting XP if you battle it out, do some extortion, do some sabotage, do a smash and grab operation. You're going to get XP for that. If you contend with challenge, basically you're punching above your weight, you get XP. You bolster, and I think this is for everybody, bolster your crew's rep or develop a new one, and express goals, drives, and inner conflicts essential to the nature of the crew. Again, that's sort of your own thing. And as you get XP, it unlocks different things. It unlocks cohorts. It unlocks special abilities. It unlocks turf. Now, turf is not, you don't get turf from XP. You get turf from a combination of getting rep, and that's defined by how hard the job is. And one of the things that one of my groups found out too is that if you do a job and you're 100% successful at doing it, and you do it completely quietly, like you steal the money and you don't get caught and nobody knows you did it, you don't get any fucking rep because nobody psychically knows you did this. So you have to go to get rep. You have to do things and be a little loud when you do it, but that also gets heat, and heat gets cop attention and bad attention on you. So it's something
what exactly does just raw turf do?
So turf, right? These claims? These claims are turf, right? So you can basically get turf. So here's your rep. You fill this up, you get turf. Turf fills that in, and you can take these. So terrorize citizens. When you do a battle in a score, like say you get into a big brawl street fight, and I say, okay, in this score you're going to earn 1 coin. Well, if you have this terrorized citizens, basically you get the 1 coin I'm giving you, and you get 2 extra coin as well because you develop this area. And they all each do different things. Turf just adds to this sort of rep thing, right? I know I'm not explaining it very well, but there's this whole inner working between rep and tier and gang experience.
So if we have empty turf, even though it doesn't do anything, it just counts towards bragging rights, I guess is the way.
So each piece of turf you have reduces the rep cost to develop. So it's having turf also counts like you have more rep.
Yeah. See this rep thing right here? This is kind of like the experience track, so to speak, for rep. It's different currencies, right? You're getting XP when you do things. You may or may not get rep when you do other things.
Yep, and you need rep to raise your tier.
Yeah. So and tier is a whole big thing, and it's important, like on rolls and whatnot. But you have to fill this whole rep thing up to go up a tier. If you have turf, that means for each thing of turf you have, you don't have. It's already counted as a free one. It's already filled up. because it's just like the strength and power of your gang.
Yeah, so the size of your turf makes it. I mean, it counts as rep essentially, but you didn't have to earn it because you just have a big territory.
Right.
Okay.
And you start out at see how it makes like a little map. Each of the different sheets have a different map. I believe. Hold on, maybe they
did when I looked.
They do.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, shadows and
Yeah.
wait, go back.
No, they don't. Yeah,
they don't. Not on the sheet, at least.
Yeah.
Oh no, they did because informants is different than whatever.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
the
no.
same. It's the same like roadmap.
It's the same
I guess.
layout road.
Yeah, it's the
Gotcha.
same line, but the things are different. You get a loyal fence versus
Yeah.
terrorized citizens.
Hagfish Farm.
I was looking more into the Bravos. I mean, I don't know. They're both so different. The Shadows is definitely what it sounds like a lot of us want to do. The Bravos sounds more like it works with most of our classes.
So the main thing here is the crew advancement. So
Yeah.
this is what you get XP for doing. And this is what I'm going to be throwing at you. Do you want to get into fights? Do extortion? Do you want to wreck shit? Do you want to smash and grab? Or do you want to do espionage?
Yeah.
And espionage is not necessarily government secrets, right? It can be anything. It can be against other gangs and whatnot. Do you want to do espionage? Do you want to wreck shit? Or do you want to steal stuff? And theft is not kicking in a door and grabbing. That's like a smash and grab. These are not mechanical things, by the way. These are just concepts.
Right. Well, I was looking at like the special abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, the special abilities definitely. But I could go either way. I might change a couple things in my character if we go shadows, though. I won't be as heavily into beating
Yeah.
multiple people at once.
And remember too that
Because right now, if we were shadows, and I mean, obviously, I probably wouldn't take a quest or a role of like sneaking in somewhere because I do have prowl, but I have 0 finesse. Like I would not be able to pickpocket somebody.
right.
Well, and going at least by the first game, we cannot freaking roll well enough to do anything quietly. So we might as well just own that. That's kind of why I'm thinking Bravos, because we might as well just go ahead and accept. We can't roll, so it's
The
just
shadows looks cool though because you get the go back to the shadows. Yeah, because you get the gambling den and like you get a drug den.
I love the Hagfish Farm too.
Yeah,
it's very dump bodies. Like never own pigs, Turkish. Never trust a man who owns pigs, Turkish.
Right.
If I would have went like pure cloak and dagger character from the start, I'd have been 100% like shadows, and I would have pushed this super hard. But it's really hard to decide between the two.
Yeah. You also your cohorts are somewhat defined by your crew types, but we're not going to hold hard to that, right? Because everybody kind of wants that. That's important to you guys, and you want different flavors of it. So where it says elite rooks and elite skulks, those are different types of cohorts. Will work with that. It doesn't matter what you take over here because there's a difference between thugs and skulks. Skulks are people who break into shit and steal stuff. Thugs are knuckle draggers who beat people up. But again, that's not a big thing. But I will point out that with Bravos, Blood Brothers, when you fight alongside your cohorts in combat, they get +1D for teamwork rolls. Set up in group action. All of your cohorts gets the thug type for free. If they're already thugs, they get another type for free. So basically, if you choose a cohort that's like skulks, they steal stuff and whatnot. With this, they're knuckle dragging thieves. Like they can sneak into stuff, and if they get caught, they can crack skulls.
Plus, you get fighting pits with the Bravos.
Yeah,
And
that
that's my
goes
jam.
against too. I'm trying to. I'm not okay. Everyone steals. Everyone steals is really, really good. By the way, basically each PC may add +1 action rating to. Basically, everyone gets +1 to prowl, finesse, or tinker, up to 3.
Every one of the crew sheets has something like
does
that.
it? Oh yeah. Hunt, skirmish, wreck. Yeah,
Which is fighting and destroying
Yeah.
shit.
Blood Brothers, door kickers when you execute an assault plan. So what an assault plan is, that's the score, right? So we do that thing where we don't plan the score. We have a general idea of what we want to do, and we start in media res, and we look at, I ask you guys, how are you approaching this? Are you being stealthy? Are you using weird magic stuff? Or are you just assaulting in? If you guys say assault and you have door kickers, you get +1 to the engagement roll. And that's how well the thing starts off at. Yeah, go ahead.
My initial instinct was shadows, but now that we're talking about Bravos, and now I'm just sort of obsessively thinking about the early works of Guy Ritchie. Now I definitely have persuaded myself that Bravos is where I want to go. Yeah, I definitely.
Just heavy hand everything.
Yeah, I do. I want to. Yeah, because then that'll lend a bit more to sort of the comical element.
Yeah.
If we try to be stealthy and we're jackassy about it, I'll probably get pissy.
Yeah,
Oh my
Forged
God.
in Fire is really good.
Yeah. Fiends. So when you do stuff, you get heat. When you do bad stuff, kill people and go loud and all that stuff, you get heat. And heat is on the gang. And then when heat fills up, then you get a wanted level. And then the wanted levels fill up too. And then, bad stuff comes after you. With fiends, fear is as good as respect. Remember what turf does with rep and the tier and all that?
Yeah.
You may count each wanted level as if it's turf. So basically you're like, yeah, that's me on the wanted poster, bitch.
Yeah, so the more infamous you are, the higher tier you can get easily. That's kind of cool.
Pretty interesting. So, but let's look at shadows for a moment here. What have we got? Weird experience for cult rituals. Oh wow! Everybody can interact with the ghosts with ghost echoes. That's weird.
Yeah, and see that kind of plays into Dan's thing.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want that one specifically because of
For
that.
your character. Yeah.
It takes away. It takes away.
It takes away from Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slippery when you roll engagements, roll twice. That's really, really good. When you reduce heat, take another D. That's really good. When you perform a group action, which we did in the last score, you may count multiple 6s from different rolls as a success as criticals. That's really good.
I think what's happening here, Chad, is that we're going to break your rule and make our own and mix the two together.
So that's a thing, right? Veteran, you can choose special abilities from other crews.
Oh,
And every game I've run, they've done that.
yeah.
I believe we had Assassins, I think, took Ghost Echoes or something from the last one, if I remember right. So, but yeah, that's already baked in.
Oh man, if that's the case, if we're looking at like what the map is, I kind of like Bravos more with taking shadows.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, shadows sound more like what we are, but Bravo seems to fit what we are.
Yeah. It plays more into, I mean, at a minimum plays into Jack and Reggie like 100%.
We're Bravos that imagine that we're shadows.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm sneaking.
Hey, quiet down back there. They're going to hear us.
Yeah, I'm a shadow who's making do with Bravos.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Oh man.
So is that what you guys want to do? You want to be Bravos?
Yeah, I think that's cool. Yeah,
All right.
I think that's fun, especially since you pointed out the veteran ability.
Yeah, that made it a lot easier because I would hate because they both have really cool shit, and I think they both play into at least like one plays more into like kind of what we've already made ourselves, and the other one plays into what we want. And if we can just pick and choose from the shadows, I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because would we have a drug den? I don't think any of us would really. I mean, I know that's just kind of a mechanic thing on a sheet, but would we really have a drug den? I don't know if any of us would, and I don't think we would really have a gambling den. I don't think any of us is really set up for that.
Yeah.
So, like, I think the other one works. One, I literally am a fucking pit fighter.
Right.
Two, we still get a lot of like the street fence and stuff. I thought that was just shadows, but we both get that.
Yep.
The protection racket thing, that kind of plays into Jack and I.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And terrorize citizens. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't play the nice criminals like in our first game, then yeah.
Oh no, yeah. Reggie's built to be intimidating and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna, like I said, I don't want to play him like a huge douchebag, but is definitely not gonna be super nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, my vote's Bravos now. I think like I said, I think it makes it easy. I vote Bravos.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Everybody else on that, I guess we all decided.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I'm pro
I'll second
Bravos.
that.
Yeah.
That works for me. So I'm not going to ask what your crew name is, but you will need to come up with a crew name. They're not going to just refer to you as you guys. You guys are an official crew, right? So you guys are going to have to come up with that. Your tier is 0, so you don't even have anything like that. So let's fill this out a bit. You start with 2 coin. So that's kind of like where I was saying that's what actually that is what Lard gave you. He gave you guys 2 coin.
Right.
From the thing that's why I did that there. So the crew has 2 coin. Each PC gets 1 plus. Okay, so 0 rep, all that sort of thing. So choose an initial reputation, right? And reputation. This is just an RP story thing. What is your kind of? How do people generally think of you right now?
Right now, they don't.
Yeah.
Unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
Wild cards?
Eager.
Free agents.
Eager to please or something like that. Because we're taking like shit jobs, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hungry.
Hungry. Yeah, hungry is
I like
a good
that.
way. Yeah.
Hungry.
Yeah.
All right. That isn't right. How do you spell hungry?
Take the E off.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry. Okay. Now your layer. When you earn XP when you bolster your crew's reputation. So think of this as another cue to indicate what sort of actions you want to take in the game. So yeah, bolster your crew's reputation, or you develop a new one, right? And so that's going to be up to you guys.
Eric, you said your family owned like a candy store or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want the candy store to be the lair, or have our name to be something along with like
The Candyman.
the Candyman or something?
The Sweet House Gang.
Jawbreakers.
Oh shit! The
That's
Jawbreakers.
actually pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually really like that.
You guys want to be the Jawbreakers?
Yes.
Sure. I'm
All
in.
right. Dig it. Jawbreakers. All right. So the lair, is it the unassuming back rooms of a merchant shop?
I think so.
All right. You guys get to
Can you move layers? Is that like a thing? Can we like decide to move a layer somewhere else?
Yeah. Within your turf, right? Or within
Right.
your area. Or if you take something from someone else. Yeah,
Okay.
you can move it. So back rooms of the sweet shop. I don't remember what the sweet shop's name is. But that's okay. Your crew is brand new, but you have chosen. Also, there's
it was Fezziwig's Sweet House.
I'm not spelling that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually save this file, and you guys are going to pick the person who is going to to take over this sheet, right? I'm not running your guys' crew. So whoever is going to handle the paperwork on this is going to get this, and they're going to
I vote
take care of it.
Broder.
I'll do it.
I was actually gonna suggest Dan as well, only because Dan's gonna take the bulk of the work on the cohorts anyway. So
I was only going to suggest Brodor for the memes of giving him extra homework.
If it's Brodor, he has to print it out and use his point perfect handwriting on it.
that was already the plan if it was me.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine with Dan doing it. I don't care who does it. Fuck, I'll do it if.
You guys need to pick a district. For those of you with books, the districts start on page 256, but don't worry about it now. Let's see here. Your crew is brand new, but you have chosen a small part of a district as your hunting grounds. This is the area you usually target for your scores, and you know it well. Your hunting grounds don't have to be in the same district as your lair. Basically, yeah, it's like this is where you're doing your jobs and stuff. The entire city is divided amongst much larger, stronger factions. The GM will tell you which factions claim the area, and then you decide how you deal with them. You can pay them off for 1 coin. You can pay the faction 2 coins as a show of respect, and you get status with them. Keep the money. Okay, so faction status, right? I'm going to scroll down here. The formatting on this is really bad, but basically there is a whole mini game of factions, and every single faction is they either like you or they don't like you, or they're neutral with you or whatever. I do not do the faction game in my games. This mini game that Harper put in Blades in the Dark is too deep in the weeds. It's like every little thing you guys do makes someone like you or makes someone hate you, and the numbers here on all these different factions are going up a little bit or going down a little bit constantly throughout the game, and I don't track any of that shit.
So like if the city, if we do something with Inhook Prison, the city council hates us because they have a thing with them, and then because
it sounds
of that,
like a Fallout reputation system. Which,
yeah.
I mean, that works when the computer's tracking it. I don't know.
Right.
I want to get caught up in a game where we're tracking it.
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't care what the gondoliers think of you in the canals or the ink rakes or any of that. Yeah, I'm not tracking that shit. I'm too busy running a game. I'm not tracking any of that shit.
Well, plus, I mean, I'd rather it be if we directly fuck with them or something like that. Sure.
Oh yeah. So I mean, to be honest with you, as the game progresses, I will pick a couple of factions that I'm going to be tracking. That the factions themselves will have project clocks. So if you go to war with another gang, I'm probably going to like develop that gang out and do a project clock on them and see and figure out how exactly they feel about you and that sort of thing. But no, I'm not doing this worksheet for that. That is not a thing that's going to happen. So as of right now, for your hunting grounds, we're just not going to really worry about that. And you don't have to pay or not pay or anything like that, because we're just not going to worry about that right now. But the thing is, if you choose to pick a hunting ground, you will need to pick out a district, which again is on page 256. That's where they start. You do get stuff for doing that. You get plus an extra dice when you gather information in that district that is your hunting ground. You actually get a free additional downtime activity to contribute to an operation in that hunting ground, stuff like that. And the hunting ground and the districts themselves provide pluses and minuses and bonuses, but that is for you guys to decide, and you guys tell me. And if you guys just say, no, the city is our hunting ground. It's like we don't stick to one place. That's fine too. There's no pluses and minuses as far as that goes. Okay, so you get to choose one special ability. So yeah, take a look at special abilities for your crew. Choose one. If you can't decide which one to pick, go with the first choice on the list. Harper put on all the playbooks for the crews and for the actual individual playbooks, he put what he considers the best ability for each one is the first one. They're not ranked after that, but it's basically like if you can't decide, a safe bet's always the first one on the list, according to Harper. Don't feel you have to hold yourself for that. But you guys get to pick one ability. You all have to decide. I don't care what you pick.
Trying to get that Bravo sheet back open.
Yeah, can you guys read this? Do I need to zoom in?
I can read it.
I've got it pulled up on my laptop.
Gotcha.
So a bunch of them look really good. I always do like the first one because it gives you an extra dice to roll on one of your skills.
I'd pick, I think off the top of my head, I like either Dangerous or Fiends.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dangerous for those that didn't take those abilities is nice because then you have them.
Well, and I would not object to. I would not object to taking an extra die or an extra rating in rec right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dangerous works for me too.
Yeah,
That's what my
we'll
vote is.
go with Dangerous. That's fine.
Dangerous? Okay. Oh,
It's especially good early in the game when we don't have a lot of XP towards things.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I think easily a second best, or like when we get to choose our next one, Fiends is easily.
And just note that is +1 action rate to hunt, skirmish, or wreck. You can only pick one of them
Yeah,
for
I picked
yourself.
rec.
Yeah, and it's different for everybody, whatever.
Right.
And you only up to a max rating of 3. So you can't use it to bump yourself up to 4. So that's cool. So basically, yeah, you guys are the Jawbreakers, a hungry band of bravos operating out of the back rooms of Mr. Treacle's sweet shop. You guys are dangerous and ready to rock. Let's see here. An upgrade is assign crew upgrades. These are the crew upgrades here. Can you guys see that? Because it's blocked on my screen by the Zoom pictures. Okay.
You should be able to slide those.
Yes, I do see the crew upgrades.
Oh, wait, I can't slide it. Yay. All right. Crew upgrades. Let's see here. An upgrade is a valuable asset that helps the crew in some way, like a boat or a gang. See the complete description on the following pages. Each crew type has 2 pre-selected upgrades that suit the crew.
Yep. So if you look at it for Bravos, the 2 that are marked. Oh, actually, there's only one marked on a Bravos.
There's only one mark. Yeah, it's prowess.
I looked at the others, and they had training prowess.
That's because you get each type has 2 pre-selected that suit the crew, like prowess training and a gang of thugs for the crew. Wow. Bravos start with a cohort. I did not know that.
Wow.
Let's see here. I want to see what it said. Bravos. Yeah. The starting upgrades are prowess and a gang type of thugs, specifically thugs. Fiends, Forge of Time. I need to read, and I'm not going to do it right now. I need to read the rules on cohorts specifically to refresh my memory of them, because the cohorts here, you start. They have armor, they have abilities, stuff like that. So I'm going to need to get that, and then we're going to have to kind of come up with a story behind who these guys are and what they are.
What if they're guys that Jack and I brought in from just us doing, bouncing jobs or
guys in the
fighting.
neighborhood? Just generally my third cousin. He's a big dude, sort of thing.
They're the neighborhood watch.
Right. They make sure you're safe and
that
paid
also.
off.
Now I need someone. I want to make a very sort of creepy Orwellian Clockwork Eye that is the neighborhood watch.
You can do a project clock for it.
Yep. You'll get two. You get to add 2 additional upgrades to your new crew, so you'll have a total of 4 upgrades when you start. You can choose from specific upgrades available to your crew type or the general upgrades on a crew sheet. These are the specific ones: the Bravo rigging, the Iron Hook contacts, and these are the general ones that like everybody gets. For example, when you assign your 2 upgrades, the GM will tell you about 2 of the factions that are impacted by your choice. One faction help you get the upgrade, and the other one you screwed over. We're not going to do that one yet.
I'm going to suggest Vault for one of our 2 that we pick, because you can only carry so much coin, and without the Vault, you're stuck with, I think you can only do 4 there, and then the PCs get them.
Yeah.
And this will let us save up 8 coin.
And the PCs can only carry so much coin on themselves. So,
yep. And they get more as your Vault upgrades.
Right. So if you notice, let's see here. Coin, you have your coin in your stash, right? You can only put so much into your stash, and then it needs to be upgraded with the Vault and that sort of thing. When you can't put stuff in your stash, if the gang gets 4 coin, say that they get 5 coin, and everybody has coin in their pocket, that extra coin that has nowhere to go gets evaporated. Basically, you guys are your brutal scoundrel thugs. You're not accountants. It just gets drank or shot into your arm or spent at the brothel. It just gets lost because you're just not very good at that.
And 4 is not much for the gang to have to start. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I recommend Vault for one of them.
That sounds good.
Guys cool with Vault?
I am. I think Vault's a good choice. I don't know about, selfishly, I want a workshop, but I don't think anyone else could benefit from that.
Your lair has a workshop appointed with tools for tinkering, alchemy, as well as a small library of books, documents, and maps. You may accomplish long-term projects with these assets without leaving your lair. And that's anybody's long-term project that involves that sort of thing, whether the project involves research or making stuff or whatever. So some of the stuff here, like boathouse, you have a boat, which Eric didn't want, a dock on a waterway, and a small shack to store boating supplies. A second upgrade improves the boat with armor and more cargo capacity. Remember I said that canals run through the city. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about a big whaling ship. Carriage house, you have a carriage and 2 goats to pull it. Yes, goats. They have horse-sized goats, not horses in this setting. Cool. And let's see, to pull it and a stable. A second upgrade improves the carriage with armor and a larger, swifter goats. Horses are very rare in Duskwall. Most carriages in the city have large Arcosian goat as their draft animal. I guess they do have horses. Okay. Cohort. Remember, too, that if you guys take cohort, you already have a cohort. I did not know that. We're going to have to figure that out. Cohorts start out as not great. And you kind of have to put stuff into them to make them a bit better. Hidden lair. Oh, wow. Your guy's lair is not hidden by default. Your lair has a secret location is disguised to hide in hide it from view. Your layer is discovered. Use 2 downtime activities and pay coin equal to your tier to relocate it and hide it once again. That's a thing. Is everybody knows where the sweet shop is, and everybody knows where you hang out there, which means everybody knows that your vault you just bought with all of your hard-earned money is right there. Your vault is not hidden unless you get a hidden layer. Let's see here. Mastery. Your crew has access to master level training. Okay, so you know how you can't advance your stuff to level 4? You may advance your PC's action rating to 4 until you unlock this upgrade. PC action ratings are capped at 3. This costs 4 upgrade boxes to unlock.
Wow.
Yeah, mastery, and that's training stuff. Yeah, mastery is a big deal if you have a long-term scoundrel there. Quality. Each upgrade improves the quality rating of all PC's items of that type. So it's documents, implements, tools, supplies, and weapons. We saw that in the last game where I believe somebody had a fine weapon and was able to fill in additional slices of a clock using their fine weapon than they otherwise would have been able to. Quarters. Oh, yeah, you guys don't live in the sweet shop. Your layer includes living quarters for the crew. Without this upgrade, each PC sleeps elsewhere and is vulnerable when they do so. That's the thing, is that the layer is considered secured. So if you're like attacked in the middle of the night by your enemies, if you're sleeping on your cot in your girlfriend's house, they're coming through the door. If you live in the lair, you have defenses, traps, locks,
Well,
guards,
is it secure by default? Because secure is something you pick.
Oh, no, it's not.
I was about to ask the
Secure
exact
lair.
question. Yeah.
Your lair has locks, alarms, traps. Well, how about I put it to you this way? Your free thugs also guard your lair until you can get secure lair. The second upgrade improves the defensive measures with arcane measures that work against spirits. Training. If you have training, you earn 2 XP instead of 1 when you train a given XP track during downtime. And we actually had people training during downtime.
I did, and I trained prowess, but we didn't have a crew sheet yet.
Yep. The vault and the workshop we talked about. And also you can make stuff up.
But what does the training of prowess do exactly?
So do you remember...
get XP.
Do you remember how a couple of you guys had downtime actions and nothing to do with them?
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, train in example prowess. Oh, okay, I will do that. You ticked 1 box. If you had the training facilities in your layer, then you would have clicked 2 boxes instead of 1. Basically, think of it as, like for prowess, it's like a pickpocketing dummies and stuff like that. Or if you have resolve, maybe it's like a boxing gym or something.
Yeah, I mean, prowess could be even a weight bench, too.
Yeah. So, but you guys took vault, you have 1 additional 1. You'll be hidden. Oh, you also get a pet. You get a pet, too. That's not in the book.
I take secure over hidden.
Well,
Yeah.
those are qualities. So it's if you already have a pet, then the pet is a higher quality.
I got you. Oh, yeah. You can make everybody's weapons high-quality weapons. But yeah, secure is cool. Hidden. Any of them are good. It is just about what you guys want to do.
You said we have 1.
You had 2. You spent it on the vault, and you have 1 additional 1. You can take it from up here. So there's Bravo's rigging, 2 free load of weapons and armor, Iron Hook contacts. There's a whole mini game involving getting one of your asses thrown in prison. I don't mind doing it. It is a little involved, and I don't know if we're going to explore that or not. But we might want to come back to that. Elite Rovers and Elite. Well, you know how you guys have thugs. You get this one. Your thugs are +1 quality out the gate. They're not idiots. Hardened gives you, I believe, gives them an extra trauma box or gives you an extra trauma. I don't know.
I think it's us, but because they don't get traumas, I don't think. But it takes 3 to get it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. If it's like Mastery, yeah, I mean, it has 3 boxes there.
Okay, and by the way, if anybody wants a cohort beyond the thugs, that's 2 upgrades to get a cohort.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm looking over these. I agree. I think secure is the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
What does a level 2 vault do?
Just holds more.
More money?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you see how you see how you have coin here?
Mm-hmm.
That is literally like the petty cash in the coffee can in the kitchen.
Okay.
The vault is, here's your petty cash and here's a lockbox. And then we're putting the coffee can in the lockbox. The tier 2 is the vault or the lockbox now fits in a big safe.
Okay.
With
We also
coffee.
get, it looks like we also get +1 for stash.
Yeah, that's your guy's stash.
Yeah.
So upon crew advance, each PC gets +1 to their stash and +2 per tier. And your tier is dick right now.
Now, when
Okay.
it says +1, is that a row or is that just a box?
I do not know. I would have to look it up.
Okay.
One question:
I never get to play Blades in the Dark, so I'm not as familiar with
Okay.
this
does
stuff.
the workshop only do tinkering, or does it also do
No.
study?
It was
No.
study as well.
Yeah, and in fact, it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't define itself as tinker or anything
Yeah.
like that. It's anything. Anybody can use it for anything that makes sense. Like the cutters can't use it for punching, but your
It said
layer.
alchemy and tinkering, and there's like a library or a library.
Yep.
It's up to you what it is.
Your layer has a workshop appointed with tools for tinkering and alchemy, as well as a small library of books, documents, and maps. You may accomplish long-term projects with these assets without leaving your layer. So basically, yeah, it's like if. So this might be hard for Mike, for Alexander, because to make his grapple guns and stuff, he realistically needs like a workshop to do it. So without any kind of workshop, I would make his projects a little bit harder. But I'm not going to screw you or anything like that. You
No,
just
I
have to
gotcha.
say, yeah, you just have to say, it's like, okay, I know a friend, my contact, my friend I have lets me use their place. They've got a basement, whatever.
Well, it also, I mean, it being a complication in the beginning provides opportunity for the character and the crew sheet to grow. So
Absolutely.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah. So that said, what do you guys want?
I think secure is probably the
I think
best.
secures, yeah, still our best
Yeah.
bet.
Okay.
Yeah, because it at least makes us feel good about having our shit in the vault.
Again, I think that's unanimous.
Because like, I can't think of a reason we would even take the other stuff at this point.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them we will want. Like
Yeah.
quarters would be really good, but there's more important things first.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you did that. Hunting grounds, I'm going to leave this up to you guys, right? So you get some bonuses if you guys pick a hunting ground, but you have to pick the district. There's a dozen different districts. They all do. I don't know if you, I'm probably not see my camera, but each district has 2 pages of stuff,
God.
bonuses, flavor. They're on the map. This is what they look like. This is where they're at. This is where they are at on the big map. They actually have mechanical bonuses, minuses, that sort of thing. I'm not picking your hunting ground. If you guys want a hunting ground, someone's going to have to pick that and put this on the sheet. And when you do, you pick one of these: battle, extortion, sabotage, massacre. Basically, you guys commit day-to-day crime that we don't deal with in the game. We deal with, your scores, your big stuff, but you are running a gang. This is basically where you're doing your day-to-day sort of crime activities at.
Yeah, I'd say let's look through it during the week and, the weeks, and throw it on into Discord suggestions.
Yep.
Because I'm not up to reading them right now.
No, it's too late. And so, yeah, you get bonuses when you do stuff in your hunting ground because they're your hunting grounds. There's also some minuses you can get to. Like your characters, your gang gets a contact. This is somebody that is friendly with everybody. Friendly with not individuals, they're friendly with the gang in general. They're an ally of the gang. They're not a cohort, they're my NPC, but they're just somebody who is affiliated and friendly with the gang. The Bravos have a list here, pit fighters, crooked blue coat, a blacksmith, a physiker, a ward boss, that's like an alderman, a tavern owner, or you can make somebody up too. So, but you guys pick that and define that. We're not going to do that right now unless you just want to pick one of these rando people. I will let you guys pick that all out in our Discord channel. So that is two pieces of homework you have. Pick your hunting ground if you want it. Make a contact or pick one of these contacts. With that, who is getting this sheet? Who am I sending it to?
I'll take it.
Okay, everybody cool with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Dan gets it. So I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to put it up in our files location on Discord. With that, that is all I have for tonight.
I said it in Discord, but can somebody pin some of the stuff that's in the files so that's easy to find? I guess that's not even that big, is it? Oh, never mind. I didn't realize this was like one of the small things that we had.
So cool. My brain is leaking out of my ears because we've been doing game prep and that sort of thing all night. I like where the game's going. I like the characters. I like how everybody is connected and stuff. And this gives me lots of ideas and such to work with. Does anybody have anything else?
I just have one question for an NPC.
No.
Okay. Now, I know demons are corporeal. Do they have some kind of magical power or something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they do have something that goes above and beyond. All right. Because
demons are different from ghosts
Right.
as far as whispers go. I believe there are specific demon related powers a whisper can take, I think.
Well, it's the rules. The descriptions, the best I remember, my sheet seem to just make two references:
Right.
ghosts and other spirits.
Right.
So I'm guessing the other spirits is demons or whatnot.
Yeah, it's intentionally vague. But yes, other than your guys' demon that you have, I don't have any demons planned as of yet. I have had demons in the other games, and they were demons can live. They are demons living in Duskwall, walking down the street. You walk by them, you don't know they're demons. They are hidden in plain sight. They're not red. They don't have horns. They don't carry pitchforks and stuff. But they are on the down low. I mean, nobody has a shingle outside their shop that says, "Hey, I'm demon guy, come buy my shit," because we can fight them, so to speak.
That's what I was going to ask. Is what happens if people find out someone is a demon? Is it like
they would call the spirit wardens
to come get them? Okay,
to come get them, and it would probably end up destroying the block.
Yeah,
if they decide to fight
in this country and city, at least
in this country and city. Go ahead.
I say because there is another country where they basically walk out in the public and they run the place, and everyone that's from that country they assume has demonic blood in them.
Yeah.
So what are spirit wardens? Are they like are they just people trained to deal with them, or?
So a spirit warden, it has to do with the fact that when someone dies, so there was an apocalypse, the doors between life and death were blown open. So there's nothing to keep the ghosts out. There's nothing to keep the monsters in, and there's just this big mingling and stuff. Ghosts are outrageously dangerous, and everyone is taught and everyone believes that ghosts, they will possess you and they will burn you out of your body because they are addicted to being able to feel and be alive again. And that is taught as being 100% true. It's only about 90% true. Ghosts are outrageously dangerous, and it's not 90%. I don't even know what the percentage is, but not all of them are like that. But that's how the general population feels. When someone is killed in Duskwall, in this world, within 24 hours, the ghost rises from their body. That ghost is it's there. It's just there, and it can possess people and do all this crazy shit. If the body, every single part of the body is incinerated before the 24 hours elapses, the ghost does not come out. The ghost is incinerated with the body.
So it's 24 hours down to the second.
Yes.
So if somebody was intentionally killing somebody to get a ghost, they would know exactly when it's going to... This is the moment it will occur.
That is one of the things that smugglers can and will do. That is one of the crimes. There's a black market trade in ghosts for various different reasons. Leeches, who are tinkers like Alex, use ghosts because he makes a grapple gun. Grapple guns are chemicals. Maybe there's some Leviathan blood that because there's no gunpowder here and that sort of thing. That's cool. Whatever. That's fine. Say he wants to make a little spider robot. Now, the spider robot is something that he gives a command to, and this little clockwork robot runs out and it picks a lock and then comes back to him. There are no computers. The only way he can do this is by taking a ghost that is in a spirit bottle and incorporating that ghost against its will into his device. And then the intelligence of that ghost is forced to do what he wants it to do to operate and go around and do stuff. And there is just add complexity to that.
Dope.
Yeah. So, yes. What the spirit wardens are, though, right? And this is important in the game. Say you're a big bad knuckle dragging dude, right? There's somebody you have to kill. You go out into the middle of the street. There's nobody around. But you go on the middle of the street and you shoot him in the head and he dies. What happens is there is a crematorium in the center of the city. The crematorium has a giant clock tower, like Big Ben type thing. Clock tower in the middle. It's about in the middle of the city. When someone dies, the bells of the clock tower ring.
Like as soon as somebody dies, that's what happens?
Yes.
So this thing's like ringing all the time.
Yes. And there are crows that live in the clock tower. The crows are called Death Seeker crows. And as soon as somebody dies and those bells start ringing, the Death Seeker crows fly out from the clock tower, a handful of them, and then they circle above where the body is.
Oh, that's so cool.
That tips off the spirit wardens who own the crematorium, and all of the spirit wardens are whispers. They all have the masks. They all have this uniform. They all have what they're called electrophasmic devices, right? They're all like, they have these weird devices that Alex is going to eventually kind of be making. And they roll out, and you're standing there over this dead body. They get there, they kind of nod to you, and they ask you to step back, and they get out these electroplasmic flamethrowers. These flamethrowers, they're powered by demonic Leviathan blood that's been refined to industrial grade purity, and they incinerate that body down to the molecular level, scoop up the ashes, and then take it with them. And they don't tell the police.
So yeah, that's why I said
That's the
they're
big
on,
thing.
They're
Yeah.
on nobody's side.
They are no one's side.
So they're completely neutral.
Yeah, because if they get there and you do that, and they're like, "How dare you do that? I'm calling the police." Then imagine it's not in the middle of the street. Imagine it's in a complex of a multi-level factory. The crows are just generally circling. They have to find the body. You're the guy who killed him, but you understand what is going to happen in 24 hours, right? And ghosts are bad. The spirit wardens show up. You go, yeah, he's down on the third sub-basement. I killed him behind the boiler. Look for boiler number 5. And they will say, thank you, sir. We will take care of it.
I was going to say, you could still use that to your, I mean, it's set up that way for you to use to your advantage.
Because
so cool.
it is more dangerous to have a ghost running around unknown than it is for you to be a killer running around.
And it has to be the entire body. So if you wanted to say blackmail someone, you kill one of their relatives and cut off their finger and say, you give me money before the 24 hours is up, or your relative is coming back as a ghost.
Or a hand.
Yeah, or a hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's so much
Or a
more to
sex
play with now.
organ.
Yeah, or a sex organ. Yeah.
You blow someone up with, say, a hand grenade, there's a good chance you're not going to find all the body parts.
Right. Ah,
These
To burn the
guys
building.
in with the good guy thieves, right, from the first game.
yeah.
They had this rival dude, this rival gang member that they were fighting, this gang lord that they hated. Big huge fight, big huge fucking fight, right? Killed him on the docks. Killed him. He's dead. They're like, yes, high five, mission accomplished, and they left. They left the fucking body, and the spirit wardens show up. Body's gone.
Oh no.
And then they hear about it later, like, yeah, the spirit wardens never found that body, guys. And they're like, oh, well, that's weird. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the setting enough. This is bad for you. There's a vengeful ghost out there who wants to just destroy you guys now. It's
oh my
great.
god, I cannot wait to have Vengeful Ghost Scooby-Doo style of missions. This is going to be great.
Yep.
I changed my mind to go way, way, way back when we were discussing this. Sprinkle in Scooby-Doo.
More Scoob.
Where the ghosts are actually people dressed as ghosts.
Right. Yeah. They pull off the face and it is a ghost under the mask. But
Now
yeah,
I'm gonna start-
on the demon thing, yeah, that you can have demons that look like people, that smell like people, talk like people, that everyone thinks are a person, and they live for their own reasons among the mortals. And maybe not even nefariously, maybe they just like people, or maybe they have some agenda going on or whatever. There's no war, so to speak, right? That happened and it's over with. Or the Leviathans, these are the whales that the whaling ships go out and they capture these Leviathans and pull them onto the whaling ship and process the whale, the Leviathan, and cut its meat out, its blubber, and especially its whale oil, its blood, the Leviathan blood, which gets purified down, and then that's the fuel that fuels almost everything in the city. In process, in fact, they process the whales live on the decks of the ship on the entire journey back to final processing back at the docks. It's horrific. The docks where you guys live, there are whaling ships constantly coming in and out of it with the screams of Leviathans happening, and it doesn't bother you because it's always been that way. It's like the blowing of the wind. It's completely normal and not horrific.
Do we have any reason to believe the Leviathans are intelligent?
They are intelligent. Whether you believe it or not is up to you.
Oh no, I totally believe
Society lives and dies on the whaling industry. If people decided or accepted that the Leviathans were intelligent and worthy of not being hunted, and there was a movement to stop their hunting, and you never got any more whale oil, the electro fields that protect the city from the deadlands outside of all the ghosts and monsters and stuff would no longer be able to be powered. They would fall, and the city would be overrun and everyone killed. So, are they intelligent? That's not the question.
Who cares?
Yeah. The question is not a question. It doesn't matter. It's us or them.
Yeah, no, and I'm fine with that. I was just curious if
Now, an individual may feel differently,
Right.
but
Yeah.
society is not going to change its mind.
No.
right, and that's what I was curious about.
It's a
just
means to an end.
Yeah. And it's horrific and it's terrible. But on the other hand, these are the demons that were sent to kill us. These are just the ocean demons. We're just really a lot better at killing them on the ocean. And we just kind of have a detente with all the others. So anyway, that's the game. And I'm going to call it here, unless anybody has anything else.
I'm stoked.
Awesome. You
Good.
guys, great characters, a lot of setup. I have a lot of thinking I got to do. I will see you in 2 weeks. Remember, you have 2 pieces of homework. Pick a district.
Yep, I'll take care of that, or I'll coordinate with the group, but I'll
Right.
look through it and suggest.
You want to
Yep.
sign out to the listeners?
Yeah,
Fuck
so
you.
Peace, bitches.
thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
See y'all.